people considered bad, it's not really that bad anymore. That's bullshit because
So bad.
in
Like that's the
Souls,
logic.
that happened with Dark Souls 2. This game was an atrocity, I think. Truly. The first two games, Demon Souls, Dark Souls, just really solid game with really strong fundamentals. Dark Souls 1 really in terms of the things they changed, it quite radically transformed the way the game works from Demon Souls in such a way where people still talk about how because they never really actually went to what they did in Dark Souls 1. I'm not going to get really specific in the minutia. What I'm trying to say is that those specific changes that they made for Dark Souls 1, they completely just reneged on all of those changes in Dark Souls 2. But then the game also wasn't sound. And I'm going to use this term in, the intuitive way rather than the bullshit way, which is what you call it, graphical fidelity, in terms of you can trust what you see on the screen. With that game, you can't even trust what you see on the screen in terms of all the sort of hitboxes are misaligned with the actual character models. And so the game's really shit for the way sort of Dark Souls plays like really hardcore. It's like, oh yeah, you have to roll at the specific frame so you can, get the correct punish. This level of engagement people are engaging with Dark Souls. And so when you don't have that fidelity, when you can't trust anything anymore, oh, okay. So it fundamentally fucks up core principles of the game, and it's really weird when people started rehabilitating this game. And I don't really particularly like this guy, but this guy, he does like movie reviews, but he did a Dark Souls 2 11-part series on Dark Souls 2, going into the most esoteric minutia on why this game is really that bad. And there's one video which is it's sort of a parody of why Dark Souls 2 is underrated, but it's basically creating the first part of the video is, it looks like it's a video where it's this is really cool and then it just turns into a massive piece against Dark Souls 2, which is really nice because it got a lot of traction, because Dark Souls 2 really is just a piece of shit. It is just so and I say piece of shit I think you intuitively understand, where I'm not looking at this in a vacuum where Dark Souls 2 is a game that you could play and have fun with. I'm talking about, you're a zombies player that played BO1 and then you see BO3, even BO2. And I think there is a genuine crisis. These are not bad games to play in a vacuum. But everything that BO1 did correctly, this game of, in comparison, perfection, has been completely stripped to the bone, and then bullshit was added on. No, I'm never going to look at BO2 as if it's a standalone game. I'm going to look at it as if it's a sequel to BO1. What did you change, and why do you get to have this name? Well, you don't deserve the name. You're a complete failure as a sequel. I think BO2, and I was right about that as a kid, was when I first got the game. And I hate the rehabilitation of transit, where people go, it's not that bad of a map, and I'm going, and Wings actually identified this correctly, which was where every time a new game would come out, people would go, BO4 is not that bad, BO3 is not that bad. And I'm just thinking, no, these games are awful. Just because the next game isn't as bad, the next game is even worse and is set a new low and a new sort of frontier for how bad these games could get. That doesn't mean you get to rehabilitate the images of shit games that
Exactly.
Because I think of the alternate universe that existed where we got BO1 2, the real sort of follow up to the game.
So much better, dude. So much better.
People, those guys would be laughing at us for even extolling the virtues of transit and buried. What the fuck?
That's exactly how I think too. That's actually exactly how I think. Just to say, I think and I was thinking about this funny enough with so I was looking at this is kind of the opposite argument, where I'm like kind of saying that like a lot of what we're dealing with is more inevitable, but I was looking at like the platform of Jeb Bush and from 2015, and I'm like, dude, because it's like all the shit that ended up happening, even though Trump won and even though Biden won and even though Trump won again, like it's like a lot of what he's saying just ended up happening, because it's like the political powers that be. And I was joking with someone. I'm like, dude, in the other universe, people are joking like, nah, what we had, it would have been fucking like it could have been anybody. It could have been fucking Trump as president, and we would have still had X, Y, and Z. You know what I mean? Like how like even it, like all like some of the things are so overdetermined that you have them even in a crazy world where it's also like some other crazy thing happening. So like I think in the BO2 world, like the continuity between BO1, BO2, the actual continuity where they actually respected BO1 as a game and continued it forward and moved it forward and like kept the engine, like those people are mocking us because the trajectory is so different. It's like unimaginable. Like our situation is like a horror story worst case scenario they would be joking about to be like, dude, don't even complain about where we are right now. It could be so much worse. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah. So I just hate thinking about it every time because it's so wow. It's one of those game franchises that you've spent a long time getting into, and then the only my first entry was BO1, and it's the only game, and I'm not even saying that as would you call it, a nostalgia geek, because I hate those people that go, oh, the original was the best, but I mean,
yeah, it really was.
BL1 isn't even really the original; it's the sort of sequel to the original. But it's so fundamentally like World at War in terms of uh, you can just port the maps directly over and then not even really do anything, and the game just works even better because the engine is just better. It's so very similar to the as a casual, or if you're playing as a casual, you're having a very similar experience without all the bullshit that happens in World at War, thanks to the bugs. That's how faithful BO1 is. It's just, oh, we're just a fixed version of you. Okay, that's
Yeah,
what BO2 should have been. It should have been, okay,
$100%.
we're not gonna neuter the movement for some reason where at the end of your jumps we're just gonna horrifically slow you down. Or that means chaining into the next strafe is harder. We're not gonna lower your jump height for some
Exactly.
reason. Fucking hell.
Dude,
Just
they would have been fucking. I mean, what I think is crazy is that they didn't like utilize YouTube until the game, like the theorizing people were already so big. Like they didn't
mhm,
look to YouTube as like a way to understand and refine gameplay or like mechanics of like different types of zombie players. They were so uninterested in the game that they basically only like when it was like they were like so uninterested in it, they almost like made it, left it, and then were like surprised when people were coming up with theories about it and then leaned into it in that way. They were
mhm,
so hands off with it. So I don't think there's many worlds in which they have such a good understanding of what made the engine what it was that they
mhm.
continue it and put resources into it properly. Just to say, like I would argue that.
Oh yeah, this is a world that will never exist, unfortunately.
Which is so sad. I'm not like happy about that. You know what I mean? I don't like
Mhm.
relish that at all.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would much rather have, we have, multiple maps to put in the S tier along with the race. That would be fun. That would be fun to see. Or and it's not like BL1 is fundamentally sound too. It's just that everything is so much worse than BL1 that we sort of go, oh yeah, BL1's really good. I mean, I have many problems with BL1, but in comparison to everything that came afterwards, it's just you have to extol BL1 just being so fundamentally sound.
So fundamentally sound.
Mm, yeah.
Well, what's interesting about BO1 being so fundamentally sound, like it is from like a gameplay perspective, but from like a crash perspective, it is one of the worst. Like it
Sorry, what
crashes so
perspective?
much.
Oh, Crash.
Crashing. It crashed
Really?
like BO1's crashing is crazy. Like
I didn't know
especially
this.
for high rounds. Like you didn't know it was crazy?
But BO1? I think BO1 is
Yeah.
probably the best, in comparison, the best. Surely.
Into BO2, it's way worse. Like I know this from like Gaming Ghost. Like
Oh,
they've
oh.
done crazy tests for like high rounds, like
Mhm.
the game like for a reset for crashing, like all that stuff. Like BO1 is way worse than it's like about
Really?
as good as World at War from what I'm aware of. Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Because BO1, in terms of you just
Like
don't
there's
really.
so many good, especially because of the I think because there's like driver issues too now. Like there's like
Oh,
graphical
okay.
driver issues that like are affecting BO1 worse. Where like as we've upgraded these
Yeah.
NVIDIA graphics drivers, like what
Yeah.
Crocs was telling me, it like makes the like DirectX stuff, like the DirectX 9 stuff become more unstable. Like just
Mm-hmm.
over time, BO1 unfortunately is degraded because of like things external to it almost.
Mm-hmm.
Um but by the way, let me just bring something up there that I'm fucking pissed about. Okay, so I've been in this kind of cold war with a like with a company called Intelligence Online to get their articles for free for about 3 years now.
Okay.
So at first, what I did is I realized you could use something called Bing Cache. So Bing had
Being
this thing where
cashless
they had
is.
yeah. So there's Google Cache that used to exist, where you could see a cached version of a website, which was like
Mm-hmm.
a saved image that Google had of the website. So even if the website went down or something, you could, see what the website was. There was a version of it on Bing that actually did a really good, that for some reason, that how it worked is you had to give Bing access to your full text to your websites for SEO reasons. So when someone looks up intelligence online, it needs to be able to know, like, intelligence online NSA or something. You need to give intelligence online had to give Bing access to their full site, because that way Bing could know what words are on the page, and then it could like relevantly give users access. So if you went to the Bing cache, you could see the full article without paying, and it's like $1,000 a year. So I'm trying to avoid paying, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
eventually they took away the Bing cache thing, and I'm like, fuck, that sucks. Bing cache gets shut down. But before Bing cache gets shut down, they actually, Intelligence Online ends up opting out of Bing cache. And I was pretty convinced that the fucking IT people at Intelligence Online suddenly saw my massive flood of requests for Bing, like the Bing cache thing, and were
Mm-hmm.
like, oh shit, like people are using this to get around the paywall. We got to shut this off, because they're like so aggressive with the paywall. They're like, because again, it's $1,000 a year. They're really trying to make you pay for it, right? So then about a year later, they start offering 3 articles per account sign up, right? And so what I realized is that if you sign up an account, it didn't start tracking the 3 articles that you're given until the tab closed. So what I would do is I would make an account, I would open up like fucking 80 tabs, and then I would just be like, free article, free article, free article, free article, and I would get like 80 per 3, right? So then they changed the website again so that it refreshed and tracked the articles after like the first, when you press free, it like, okay, as now taken away 1, like it's more accurate with a 3, right? So then I started using a free email service called Yopmail to sign up and make accounts. That was working. Then Yopmail stops working after like a day, right? So I'm so convinced I'm in a cold war with these guys, right? So then I find a Gmail address mimicker. So a site that mimics having basically has a fraudulent Gmail at the end of it, like a fake Gmail. But
Mm-hmm.
this, like, they can't block Gmail. They could block Yotmail. But if you're saying you can't have Gmail sign up, well, then no one's going to sign up for the email, right? For the free
Mm-hmm.
account. Because they're trying to incentivize people to get the paid account. So I was doing the Gmail free account for about like 2 weeks, and it was working great. About 2 weeks, I could get 3 articles for the fraudulent Gmail. I would just make 2 or 3 of these fraudulent Gmails, get all the articles every week I wanted. It was totally fine. Today, they've changed it again. We're now one email only gets you 1 article. So I'm so convinced I'm in a
Oh.
fucking cold war with these people, right? Because they keep fucking changing up the rules on me. Like, after I start exploiting the rules, they start changing it. And so I just think it's so ironic that for the last like 3 years, this like intelligence like company has been in this like semi like free article cold war with some like stoner from California that's just like, I want to know. Like, like I want to know what's going on. Like, I'm not even use this to like make like powerful decisions or like learn about like stocks or anything. You know what I mean? I'm just like, I want to know, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they're like having to like battle against me to like change their fucking rules. Um anyway, just some random that I'm dealing with right now.
That's super
Um
awesome.
yeah.
I
I'm in a little cold war with these fucking guys, dude.
like that. I like
Yeah.
the sound of that. Should keep going.
Yeah, I'm not gonna fucking stop, dude. Well, the thing is at one point, a year and a half ago, I actually wanted to buy um I was just like, I'm just gonna buy, I'll just pay the $1,000 a year. Like, I don't care.
Oh
Like, whatever.
fuck.
And I was just gonna, because I just wanted to do it. And I like they're like, oh, there's a student discount. And then they didn't get back to me for a fucking week until the deal, because it was like there was like a 20% off deal, and then there was like a student discount thing. So I could basically pay like, it was like $800 basically was the end result of at the end. So I was gonna get a
Oh,
bunch of, I
so
was like, all right, so
nice.
that's, I know, so nice of them. And I was like, okay, well, I'll pay the 800, like whatever. And then they didn't get back to me for like a week when I was like, hey, I want to buy your product. Like, how do I buy it? Like, they're like, oh, you need to talk to like one of our like business representatives of what your organization is going to use it for. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm a student. And they're like, okay, can we have your full fucking ID and information? And I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. Like, why am I having to fucking like dox myself to get access to something and pay this thing? Like, this is weird. And I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
so I did it, and I sent it to them, and I waited like a week and like to get back to me, and they didn't fucking get back to me. And then the deal expired, and they were gonna want me to pay extra, and I was like, I'm never
Ew.
paying. I'm never paying them ever. Like at that point, it's principle. You know, I'm never fucking paying them ever. I don't care. Like at that point, it's fucking principle, dude. I'm like, you were trying to jit me out of the extra 100 by stalling me. I was like, I realized I'm like, oh, they didn't care. They just wanted to stall me out to get the extra 100 on the commission or whatever. Like they probably get more money on a full non. Like if it's at the end of the sales period, the salesperson probably gets more money if they stall me and wait it out so that it's not a deal anymore. They probably get a larger commission for like a
Oh, you should
non-sale
let them
sign up.
know. You should let them know. Oh, because you stole me, I'm not paying for you guys.
Yeah. Well, though, I don't want to make them. I mean, I guess they know of my existence to some extent because they know of like, oh, there's like this, Indonesian or Chilean IP that keeps signing up. Like clearly it's,
Nice.
like, but like, yeah, I'm not fucking. But I like that's my little origin story. That's for me to know and for them not to fucking know about. I'm not like, you know what I mean? I'm like, fuck that. Like, I'm not even telling them that. I'm like, fuck them. Like, they can go fuck themselves. Like, I'm getting all the articles for free. I don't give a fuck. Like, fuck them. And like
Mhm.
it's funny though because every time if they have any mechanism for a free article, like then I use it. Like it doesn't like their problem is that they need to get people to sign up, so they need people to like see how quality their articles are, you know? Like they need people to see like a little preview of it. So they need to give them some free preview. But their
Mhm.
problem is if they give too much of an easy free preview, then people like me just get all of their shit just right and like but I'm also convinced at this point too that I'm unique in this because one of the journalists that I follow that's more like aware, kind of more on the like, cutting edge of like intelligence stuff, they published an article on Substack like 2 months ago saying that they had never heard of intelligence online and that they just learned about it and are like just reporting about some of the stuff intelligence online is saying. And I'm like, this is crazy. Like, this is a journalist for Rolling Stone who writes about like secret FBI offices. Like, how did they not know about fucking intelligence online when I've been knowing about them for like, almost 4 years at this point? So I'm very convinced that there aren't other people doing the mass email sign up stuff. Like I think it might just be me, like versus these guys, like which I think is also really funny.
It's really funny that you're on the cutting edge of. I say you're.
It's
I
ironic,
said, yeah. You're on the
like
cutting edge.
ironically, like there's no reason for that. Like it's just random. It's just like I just have a lot of time and I just like this stuff. So
Yeah. No, I like that. That's super
yeah,
cool.
something
I
random.
think. Yeah, I like how you're so modest about it too. Oh, it's because I just have a lot of time. Just
I
happen
do,
to
yeah.
want to
I
be.
mean, that's zombies too. Like, if we're being honest about it, right? Like, it's that I have a lot of time. Like, same with zombie skill. I've always been honest about that. I'm like, I
Mhm.
put a lot of time in the game. Like, that's it's like that's the honesty with it. Like we agree with this too. It's like who's the people getting the records are the people who have the money and the
Spend
time.
exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Like
Yeah.
you're not get what it is. Like,
I just played one game. I hate that too. Especially with
oh my
zombies
god, it's
because
such a lot.
people in zombies specifically like to be. Oh, I rarely ever spend time on this game, and I
Oh my god. I
just get
just
the
booted it up for
records.
the first time in a month and I got a month. It's like, what are you talking about? We know that's bullshit. Like everyone who's playing it knows that's bullshit.
Mm,
Like, yeah.
yeah, quote unquote first try, which is oh first try. I
Your
needed
first
to
real try.
but first real try. Yeah, exactly.
Right? Like it's always like, oh, the first time I really fucking cared. I
That's the
didn't
first time I
care with the
really
other
played.
time. I love that logic so much where it's like, yeah, this is the first time I fucking actually put the effort into it. It's like, all right. All right.
Yeah,
All
no
right.
trust.
Yeah.
Streaming offline to make it. Oh, that was the worst thing. That may have severely diminished the BO3 community, where people just started hiding strat, and so
Yeah.
they didn't stream and they didn't build up the
But the
presence.
irony of it is like it doesn't matter because they have the round caps. Like BO3, honestly, no round caps. Very interesting, different game potentially. I don't know. I think that's the one.
Oh, they just speedrun instead. That's the whole thing, though,
Yeah,
which isn't sort of removes the I guess the original sort of this is a high round, now it's a speed run to a high round, which is totally different. The fuck is messaging me? Oh, is that you?
with
Rick
me. Yeah,
Clark's
but
clear.
it's something with Roxanne
Let me
in
see
Do
this.
I read
G2.
science fiction?
Oh
No,
yes, I read sci-fi. Yeah, I've seen this one.
because I don't want to be fictionized. I'm tired of being
Wait,
teased. Science fiction is just it's a tease. Why read science fiction when I love sci-fi?
I read science fiction when I love sci-fi. I love when he's trying to be really intellectual, his cadence changes quite massively, I think.
Nah, because I don't want to. Nah, because I don't want to be fictionized.
You know DSP, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Obviously. Yeah, DSP just absolutely violated LTG. Basically back and forth context. DSP calls LTG a slave because he tried to scam Kick, and so Kick set his balance to negative, so now he has to work off the money. So every sub he gets, he's sort of making it all the way to zero because I'm
Oh, that's
punishing
so
him for
funny.
trying to scam the system. And so DSP calls him a slave, and then LTG responds by only critiquing his appearance, and then you're just seeing the video. You can sort of all the clip anyway.
Then he starts talking about playing me in Street Fighter. The clip had nothing to do with Street Fighter. At all. Nothing. Zero. I wasn't talking about Street Fighter. So he's like, oh, this guy's obsessed with me to want to play me in Street Fighter. The clip has nothing to do with that. I'm not talking about that. He brings it up. Then he's like, oh, now he has to pay me $50,000 to play me in Street Fighter. No one said anything about Street Fighter. So you see what I'm saying? Like, this guy is so crazy obsessed about shit. So, number one, he knows he can never beat me in Street Fighter. Therefore, he tries to make impossible qualifications for me to play him ever. Right? It gets worse. So first it was $5,000. Now it's $50,000. Now it's you got to do 2 bench presses of 315 pounds and 2 squats of 315 pounds. None of this has to do with Street Fighter whatsoever. Nor did I even bring up or challenge him in Street Fighter. But this is what he all says on his stream. So everyone's just left with their jaw dropped. Like, what just happened? Like, he got ultra triggered because
That's
Phil
funny.
just brought
So
up
he just goes off.
this
So he
whole kick
basically
thing, this
admits
kick
to being a crypto scammer.
Oh yeah,
By the way
well, it's
that
not
he reacts
crypto,
to it.
but
Whatever this.
kick scam or whatever the fuck, which is even funnier.
What is that? Like what?
What'd you say?
What's the sub kick scam? Like what's the?
I don't even know. I don't even know how it works. Where he basically tried to, from what I understand and what DSP said, is that he tried to get people have been claiming that for a while now about LTG. It's that he's gifting himself subs from really poor regions, but he tried to do something with that. But I don't know exactly what he tried to do. But yeah, he gives himself people were saying Turkish subs, Argentinian subs, which is really funny if true.
It is funny. So it's like a semi-laundering thing where it's like they're getting subs from weird places to like boost their numbers in ways
Yep.
that might be suspicious. Like they might be transferring some of the money they're getting into subs from other places to boost their sub count to make their algo presence better. They're like gaming the like. Okay. I got you.
Yeah, which is really, really funny, especially with LTG's bravado. I think it's really funny. He tries to deny it, but he's just not equipped to be able to deny it, and so he just goes to appearance insults all the time. Totally, very straight guy, by the way. Just super straight guy. Going on an endless tangent on things that I wouldn't even. Things that I wouldn't even look at, or even be able to notice or have words for. Yeah, for men, yeah, really,
yeah.
And actually, I'll just send the other clip, which is DSP violates LTG. He's definitely on the gaydar, or DSP's gaydar.
A 500 kick contribution from your future stepdad. So there you go. Oh, by the way, LTG, these are real contributions. These are things that you should probably try to get used to rather than your phantom contributions that come in every now and then. Ooh, someone dropped me 100 candies. Again, the guy's not gay, but he calls his contributions candies. Like someone is feeding him candy. Ooh, candies. Thanks, everyone. You gave Mr. Sparrow candies tonight. And then
somebody's called me, taught me 100 candies.
Anyway, thanks for the contributions, guys. Let's get those up on the leaderboard and let's get started with Silent Hill. All right. We thoroughly.
But did you actually get exposed for faking donations and stuff?
This is something that's been going on for a while. I don't know if there's actually any substantial proof, but people are saying something is not adding up here. So people think he's subbing to himself. With
that's so interesting. I didn't think about that.
Yeah, I think it's really funny that he's It totally fits in line with everything that I think about LTG in terms of he's doing.
Oh yeah, how fraudulent he is, like his lying about his age, lying all that.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah, it's very
Yeah,
he's very
yeah.
fraudulent. Like yeah,
Very much about veneers, which
wrapping
would you say?
wrappings and like appearances and very
Mhm.
little about like substance of the matter with everything he does. Like
Yeah. Oh, that was nice. Can I eat?
I tried to blow my nose.
Yeah. I had to. So windy today,
Oh, well.
and yeah, it was windy to the point. So I cycled. I'm really upset I didn't make it. I was going from. I live in Central Essex, and I was cycling to Cambridge.
Okay.
And that was by the time I actually did end up making it to Cambridgeshire, which is the county where Cambridge is in.
I was like Cambridge to Essex, like that's pretty long if I thought. Like that's kind of a long back ride.
Yeah,
But
that was 62 kilometers. I don't know what that is in miles. Hold on, because we use miles here too. But my phone, or I know you can change it to miles.
you biked like 40 miles today?
But yeah, 0.5 actually. But yeah, usually I do only do 45 instead of 62. So yeah, I cycled all the way over there, or almost all the way over there. I didn't make it all the way over there. My mom picked me up.
That's fucking sick.
No, I mean it would have been better if I made it all the way there, but I didn't leave early enough.
For sure.
I wasn't expecting
Did
it
you just
today.
get in the fucking zone? You just get in the fucking zone. Oh yeah, is it windy today? Was it like harder today? Because
Oh yeah, it was really hard. Especially it gets more hilly. And I'm on. Usually, where I'm cycling, I'm very much know the lay of the land, so I'm taking back roads. I'm not on main roads too, so it's more comfortable. Because I don't have to worry about cars. Not that I'm afraid of cars, but I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that guy that's holding, a trail of cars back. I don't like that.
yeah. I can do that.
I mean, cars deserve it, but
yeah, true.
they super deserve it. In the
totally
city,
deserve it.
I'll totally do that, because why the fuck are you using a car in a city? To me, I truly don't understand. But the thing is, my mom remarked on this. She was saying in Chelmsford we just don't have, which is the capital of Essex, where I live. The traffic just here isn't that bad. But also, what's really cool about Chelmsford is that I never see anyone remark on this, but to be fair, I'm not talking about, city design with, other people that live in my area, but it's, I've talked about this before, where basically you can get anywhere through the park as long as you have a connection to the park, which most areas do. You can get right into the town center without going on any single road, which is, I think, is really cool in terms of city design, that you don't need to interact with bullshit. You don't have to interact with the streets or whatever. But I was in Cambridge and the traffic was horrendous. It was, but what was weird is that I saw way more people on bikes in Cambridge. Also, it was really, it was super. What'd you say?
They're just dealing with it. They're just weaving through traffic. Like they're just used to it.
Oh yeah, they're super used to weaving through traffic. In Chelmsford, you don't have to do that. You just go through the park. Actually, I prefer going on the roads, just because a lot of people like to use the park, and they're not very conscious of who else wants to use the path. So you have like 3 people walking abreast, and I'm just thinking, hello, and I'm dinging the bell because I like to go quite fast. I'm quite reckless, and then they take a little bit to move out the way. Is he talking about me? And when 2 people are just not in sync and they just walk, they sort of walk onto other sides of the path, and I'm going, how have you not coordinated this in advance? Just go, okay, let's go left, let's go left. And I have to slow down quite a lot. So
to figure out what they're trying to do, you're like, dude, what the fuck? Like,
yes. So I either go super early in the morning through the park or not. But anyway, regardless of that, being in Cambridge though, wow, that city is super beautiful in terms of architecture. Yeah,
I bet.
100%. I'm a big fan of where I live, Chelmsford, but Chelmsford is a lot more, what do you call it? I don't know what to say, maybe more modern. But even then, Cambridge felt super modern in terms of like their fire. Their what do you call it? Their fire station looked like a what do you call it? It looked like a university. I'm thinking, what the fuck? Why does your fire station look like that? There's sort of a stereotypical way a fire station looks like in the UK, where you go, oh yeah, that's a fire station. You don't need any sort of embroidery or sign to indicate that. But they had a university style building that looked like that, and you know how universities sort of have, at least in the UK, they have very particular in terms of the, let's say, the front of the school. They'll have a very particular like stones, it's like, oh, it's not a normal path, it's we have like limestone, steps, and usually it's quite they usually have it like a square. I don't mean like a shape of square, I mean like an actual like town square sort of. There's a lot of space in front of the building. That it looked incredibly modern. Chelmsford is not really like that.
More like country kind of style. It's more like you can kind of see the past more rather than this kind of like new modern style. You're saying? Like how's it compare? Like how's Chance? Like, how would you define it? Say like
it's really hard to compare because Cambridge also has this historic allure where you just look at it and you go, yeah, the buildings are fairly. Would you say?
This is a city been around for 600, 700 years, right? Like, because like that's how I'm thinking. It's got to be like It
has historic buildings. You can see historic cathedral. Going up, actually, it's funny because so the two places above Essex are Cambridgeshire, and then there is Suffolk, and basically like random shit town just has like massive fat cathedral, and so just every town I'm going past, just like fat cathedral, even like North Essex. So you're just seeing the sort of the sick, and we have a cathedral here in Chelsea too. But it's not the same when you see some just shit town. I say shit town, I mean tiny town that has or tiny village that just has this fat cathedral, and
it is really funny.
And it rapes but it adorns the whole skyline, so you can see it for when you're coming in. So it looks super nice. The towns going up to Cambridge were gorgeous. Like, I think they all looked they were very compact when you went within the sort of city center, and so whole ride was definitely a treat on the eyes. But yeah, Cambridge looked really nice, but also it was really weird because so many students around. This was a fucking Saturday, but there were so many students. I can tell those students because obviously young in groups, but also many different ethnic backgrounds. I just don't see that ethnic diversity in where I live, where I'm going like, oh wow, can I just stop this like one Asian person? Can I speak some Japanese? I need to try out and test my Japanese.
I bet you're lacking a little bit of Japanese practice in Essex. I would assume that there's not a major Japanese population in Essex. So I would assume, at least.
Actually, the thing is, I'm so indoor mindset, so I haven't even attempted to look any of this up.
Where would you go? Like, where would you go in your area to like see a Japanese, like to find, like, is there like a Japanese market, or is there some sort of like, or like a book, like a manga shop or something? Like I know in my area there is like I think one manga shop. I don't know though.
One manga shop, yes, a whole one
manga shop. Yeah, there might be. It might still exist. There did exist one. I don't know if it still exists or if it's been like, if there's like now like only a manga section in like the fucking Santa Cruz City books or whatever.
Okay. Yeah. I would have to ask. The thing is, yeah, I would have to ask people, hey, is there a manga shop? I could just look it up. Oh, manga shop in my area, Japanese shop in my area. But yeah, there was this guy that was my mom was talking to him. But I overheard some of the conversation because apparently he was learning Japanese and Mandarin, and he was saying that there is a so weird to say this because I'm used to saying this about historical movements. It's like, oh, the White Lotus Society, but there's a society. I don't even know if it's actually called that, but I think they're a part of Cambridge University or something. But I don't think you have to attend the university to be able to join. And it's just like a Japanese learning society, just specifically for Japanese learning. And I'm thinking, Might have to go
Join
to
that.
one of my
You
yeah.
might have to go there. That sounds fucking sick. That sounds fucking
Yeah.
sick.
That
Yeah, a
was,
Japanese learning society. That's like that's literally where you gotta go. Like that's literally what you're doing.
that is that might be the next step.
100%.
Or you know,
That's fucking sick. So what does that look like? Like you're showing up to some place where there's like other people attending like seminars, or they're talking about like specific things, or you're doing assignments, or like what's the kind of from what you've like what she mentioned or what he mentioned?
oh, my mom didn't because I was talking to somebody. What would you say?
Yeah. No, I was just asking about like what does that entail like from what you understand about like what that would be? Just kind of.
I don't know. I was saying, Mom, wait, what the fuck was this guy saying? Because I wasn't talking to him. I would have obviously gone like, where do I go? You know, what does that look like? In terms
Where
of,
is this? Yeah.
because I'm just that person that my mom actually hates that where you go, you just ask so many questions. I'm going, why would you even frame that in a negative? That's the best thing
I know.
ever.
How
yeah.
are you possibly framing that in a negative way? How is
Exactly,
it even possible?
yeah.
Like yeah.
Mhm. So because I wasn't talking to him, I didn't get any of the obviously I have many answers, but Japanese Research Society, I think I'm gonna have to turn off one of those just you know, self-taught, you know. Let's see let's see what these other these other guys are talking about.
You're coming in, you're like, I just want to say, I believe it's fine to say the N-word if as long as it's in Japanese. You're like, you're starting out the class that way. You're like, I'm a free speech absolutist. You know, no censorship. Like,
100%, yeah. Oh, but we're saying it in Japanese, so none of you and you
None
don't
of
have to
you
tell
to
about
me.
the other normies. Yeah, and if you
Yeah.
get a recording of me, I mean, come on now, this
I'm black.
is Japanese.
Okay, I'm black. I speak Japanese. Come at me, bro. Like seriously, like
Mm.
you're
No,
coming in. You're like, you're laying down the law with the fucking Japanese.
Mm.
You're like, no. Before we even start researching Japanese, we gotta fucking have a conversation about like, is it okay to say the N-word in
That's
Japanese?
really funny.
You're like starting out on the
That's
wrong
really
foot
funny because
completely.
that's the most US thing that I've ever heard. Where we're just laying down the law about what ethnic slurs we can say.
What ethnic slurs we can say? Starting out the fucking conversation that way. On the right foot.
Actually, to be fair, I would expect that of probably a university population where they'll just be super in tune with that.
Yeah, of course. It's also like just like irrelevant to the you know what I mean. Like it's like I like the idea of like coming in with like a completely irrelevant like focus when it's like a Japanese learning society. It's like not even something related to Japan, not even something related. You know what I mean? Like not even something about like English Japanese relations. Just like nah, we're gonna talk about like is it okay to say the N-word? Just like waste everyone's time.
Right. Yeah, it's funny because there's a word called nigata in Japanese, which means weak point, or you can say that of a person too. So that the nigata, yeah, that the
like you're like we gotta find their nigata. Like we gotta find their fucking strategic nigata. Like we gotta find where we can we gotta exploit their nigata. I love that.
Yeah. I super wonder how how a Japanese whatever the fuck research society learning society even functions.
Yeah, I wonder what they focus on. Like let's look it up. Japanese.
Japanese learning community or something.
I found it. Boom.
Oh really? Okay, no, it's share screen or something. Wait, hold on, let me get a drink and then I will be back though.
Wow. That's fucking crazy.
Okay, here we go. I'm back.
Yo.
Anglo-Japanese society. So quick,
Yeah,
so
and
quick on the mark.
this was the link for their like a freer version of the like a free version of their Instagram, which I guess they said has like all their updates of like the upcoming events and stuff like that.
Oh,
Okay,
wow.
days ago. What's this one? Tokyo.
Kenburi ji daigaku nie. I don't know what that word means. It's probably Japanese and English because sometimes they'll just put the characters that are associated with a language, so it's sun and then English. It actually means hero. Funnily enough, the character for English is hero for some reason. It's really
That's
weird.
so interesting. What a weird.
Nie.
That's
Oh,
so.
Nichie.
That's the kind of thing where it's like that sounds like an American general who's overseeing like the rebuild of post-time Japan, being like, what's the best word that like what could you make English that's like the most like like hero?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
ridiculous.
hold on, let me screenshot it. Yeah, it was really weird. I was thinking,
So
oh, maybe it's a slightly different character, but no, it's the exact same character.
What a coincidence. What an interesting coincidence.
I know, so weird. So Nietzsche, is really weird because Sun can usually when Sun comes first. So the way actually modern Chinese works like this too. Where and I say modern Chinese in terms of they write everything in Mandarin standard, even Cantonese people, which is really interesting to find out where they basically know two different languages where they know how to it's written on Mandarin pronunciation or just standard Mandarin way of speaking, so that's how they write the fuck just happened. I think it was a police car or something. Hold on. Sorry, Cantonese. Yeah, it's written in. They're professional, so if you're writing it in professional environments, tests or whatever, you have to write it in the Mandarin way because
Sure.
Mandarin was sort of this was maybe late 1800s or early Republic, Sun Yat-sen era. They made Mandarin sort of like, okay, this is the lingua franca because most people know this, and so we're making the written language because the written language was classical. They didn't really reflect the way people spoke it. They made it in line with the way Mandarin is, and the way you write Chinese is that it's sort of universal. It's we all write Chinese the same way. We don't have it reflect our
individual kind of it's like it's very bureaucratic, it sounds like almost.
yeah. And actually I heard I don't really know anything about Islamic countries or Islamic culture, but I heard Arabic is actually very similar to that, where Arabic actually diverges quite a lot in terms of it's sort of considered one language, and obviously the way languages are considered are very political and social. But absolutely, it's just not one language in terms of people close to the countries that speak a certain dialect would be able to understand that dialect of Arabic. But if you're talking about, Moroccan Arabic versus, an Arabic that's spoken maybe, far from, not even maybe in the Levant, but, maybe, Iraq or something, it's going to be quite different, maybe not even mutually intelligible. But the
But
way
how it's
you
written?
write it, no, sorry,
Whoa.
the way it's spoken, but the way it's written,
Right, no, written. Yeah.
the way
But that
it's
kind of
written.
makes sense if you're transporting it over a long distance like that, right? Like, wouldn't it actually make a lot of sense if you're trying to have a language have the same meaning, even if it's like if you're having to transport like via scrolls over
Mhm,
long distance, right? Like, it makes sense
mhm,
that the writing would need to be hyper standardized.
mhm. Yeah, and I think that's really because English is in terms of we don't have anything like that in terms of the way English is spoken even in America is it is funny because I'm from the South, and so the way you speak English is very similar to the way we speak English. In the North it's actually kind of different. I know that there is a comprehension issue in terms of Americans understanding more northern speakers.
There is, yeah.
I love
Because I was in
it.
CBS, and I had a bunch of people who were from the north. They were from the north,
North,
and like
yeah.
they're from the north. But like no, but there was one guy named ZGS Pitt who was really northern, like
Mhm.
almost like one of his family half his side was like Welsh, was half his family
That's
side,
awesome.
and dude, what he had a fucking speech impediment on top of it, dude, and I
Mhm.
could like it when brief call outs were coming from public lobbies, dude. I was not sure what he was asking me to do, like a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like, I'm like 14 trying to decipher it. So when you're saying that, that brought back a bunch of memories for me of like being like 14 trying to understand this guy with the speech impediment and like a crazy northern accent. Like,
Mhm. Oh yeah, and another
yeah, there's
thing
not
with
to get back to what you yeah that with English. There's no like standardization to ensure a comprehension in like in that way.
I mean, that kind of
Right.
is actually. You don't realize it is that the way we speak English is actually quite radically different to the way you write it, and people will read it differently. And so there is sort of a thing like that where we can sort of emulate how these other people would be feeling about the language, where they'll go, okay, we're kind of just spelling things and we're sort of just hyper rationalizing it, but it doesn't actually make any sense. Oh, the K is just silent. Yeah, probably in your dialect it's silent. So there's probably some. I wouldn't be surprised if that is how it functions a lot of the time. Just if I'm trying to intuit based off of complete conjecture. Um, so, but yeah, we don't have anything that directly emulates. Oh yeah, we just have other people speaking English. Usually they sound the same. The same. They usually use very similar phrases. But what's actually really interesting though, in England specifically, and I don't know if it works like this in America, but in England, there is actually a comprehension issue even for me,
Really?
because EXE can understand in terms of slang. He was looking at I was talking about the article, but that was written about his sister's fiance.
Yeah.
um there were comments on it, and somebody said "boer." I have no idea what "boer" meant, and this is just oh yeah, that just means woman. um and so that's
Dude,
something.
Dude, I remember I remember doing this, and literally, this is like must be in Northern England because I was like also when I was like 15 in CGS, I was looking up like slang, British slang, because they were using all these words. Like,
Mhm.
and I was like reading off this list of British words, and I was like, do you like they're saying like one of them was like Bender, like Bender is a gay guy,
Gay,
and
yeah.
I'm like. Yeah, Bender is gay, right? And like when I was a kid, I was just like imagining the like a Futurama robot, right? And I'm like,
Oh,
Bender
that's
is
really
gay.
funny.
Right. And like, cause like that's why that's all I know. I'm Bender, right? And so I'm like, dude, there's no way you're knowing these. And I've listed them off, and they're knowing all of them. And I'm like, what the fuck is going on? Like, how are you?
Oh,
It's like
because
Bender,
straight.
Boofer, like it's like Ootler, like
Yeah.
yeah, he's a gaffler, bro. That guy's a crazy
What
gaffler.
the
I'm like, dude, how are
fuck?
you knowing all of these? You know what I mean? Like all of these weird like British words. Like I'm not even understanding these. That's
Yeah.
so funny.
I mean,
Like
Bender
that's
is you can sort of maybe not into it,
intuit
but
that if you were to think it through. Yeah. Like
yeah,
gender
straight,
bender, like
and
yeah.
then gender.
Bent.
Oh, you're thinking about gender bender. Okay, I was thinking more of
Also,
like
like straight
straight, and
bent.
then you're bent because
Bent.
we'll call you
Yeah.
bent. Yeah.
Oh,
And
right, okay.
yeah,
Get
yeah,
bent, right? Get bent, get fucked,
get
kind of
bent.
similar.
Oh no, we don't say get bent. That's definitely
Okay,
American.
then get bent. Is it
Get
not?
bent. No, we just say
Yeah.
you're bent. We say, oh fuck, queer was one actually when I was younger. Maybe starting secondary school, people would say, oh, you're a queer. I remember when people called me a queer. And then there was what were they? I can't remember all of them. They were some of them were so weird, but for me they were even weird too because I would just speak. My mom's foreign, so she would just speak normal standard English, and then I'm watching Americans on because I was a very early adopter of YouTube, and so I would actually say things the American way too. Like I would say route instead of route. So I was very early on that. Pronouncing things the American way, which is really weird because I've sort of moved away. I've moved away from that, but then that's now becoming more common in terms of in the younger generation because they are basically I was the earlier the sort of the early test experiment of you're growing up on the internet, whereas now all kids are
TikTok
sort of growing
accent,
up on
right?
the internet.
TikTok accent. You gotta get that TikTok English accent, right?
Yeah,
Sound like
after
a Krups video. It sound like a
mm,
Krups video.
crops video. What do you mean?
Well, because I think Krups has that AI TikTok kind of voice of like, but then he encountered something he didn't realize. Like, but then something appeared that made him change his mind completely. Like
That's a
this
Diary of the
very
Wimpy Kid reader, where they just stopped reading books after Diary of the Wimpy Kid because my sister was reading Diary of the Wimpy Kid, which was I was just thinking, oh, that's really unfortunate, just because I think that those books fucking. I read the first four, and I
yeah.
think those books are They're actually way more darker than the movies. But in terms of, it's basically this guy has a internal social
Oh,
ranking
I've read it.
popularity system in his own head, and
Yeah.
he also disparages his friend, where his friend
Rowley
is
is always
always,
given
which
so
is
much shit for no reason. Like
yeah,
poor, like yeah. No, I read
out of
like
complete
9.
jealousy.
I read
Oh
like
yeah,
9
you've
of the
read way
books. Yeah.
more than me. Okay.
Oh yeah.
Um.
Well, I was a big reader as a kid. I read a ton of books as a kid. Like I was a
Mhm,
major fucking
mhm. I was maybe not as much as you because it was only for maybe 2 years of my life that I was really into reading books. But yeah, I read the first three. That was good. That was probably towards the end of that era, and yeah, no, I think the messages in the book are just super fucked up in terms of and I say fucked up in terms of it's not really the whole popularity system is something that I sort of I think EXE has major school trauma where I'm sort of
Oh, I
very
didn't.
connect. I'm very in tune with myself, so I know what things are sort of okay. That's definitely a trauma. I definitely, that's definitely not a very rational. I don't think that's a rational thing. That's a judgment that's coming from my past. You know, sort of how I was telling you, where the way he judges himself, he thinks, oh no, those are my standards. No, they're not your standards that have been built up over time based off of outside stimuli, and now you don't even know where they've come from, and so you sort of internalized it as your own, but they're not your own. They're sort of an amalgamation of all the things that you've seen or heard said about you, and so um, maybe because I hate doing that thing where it's like, oh, I'm so in tune with myself, but I think I am probably more acutely in tune with myself because I know that okay, a lot of these things are just school trauma, but I think that that book definitely I think it would
It
heighten your
impacted that.
school trauma. Would you
It
say?
would, yeah, 100%. It would impact it 100% because it tells you how things are that are like so fucking. I don't know. It gives you like values and sit that are like really unfortunate. And yeah, I was actually funny enough. I was thinking recently about how like the books that I read as a kid had like messages in them that I kind of look back upon kind of with a lot of criticism. Um,
Mm-hmm.
like yeah, but to your large point about the like accent stuff too, and like the deculturalization of people, like um yeah, I totally see that. I totally like I one of the craziest ones I saw was some kid like Juggy told me about this, and then I ended up happening to see the video too. But it was some kid talking to an NFL player,
Mm-hmm.
and the NFL player was like, "What kind of cartoons you like?" And the kid's like, "Cartoons." Like he didn't really understand what that
What?
was as a category because he's so used to YouTube where everything is mixed together. There isn't a distinction between a cartoon and a live action show because there's such a blending of all of these categories. There isn't the category of cartoon. Like on YouTube and iPad as a kid, that's
Mm-hmm.
not something he's thinking about. And as it like he couldn't say his favorite cartoon show because he doesn't watch cartoon shows in the way that the NFL player did.
Holy
Literally.
fuck.
That's
Yeah, that's
crazy, right?
terrifying. Yeah.
Like
Oh.
that's like next level like deculturalization and like like you're not even understanding the categories of the things you're consuming at all. Like it's
Mm. Oh yeah. I was just watching my sister today. Actually, just watching more. It was a split screen of what you call like somebody like rubbing gel or something or painting nails, and then it was just this video of it was actually a storyline video of this girl sort of, but it was really weird because it was very amateurish, but it wasn't even an attempting to be sort of an amateurish sort of, oh, I'm doing my own weird TV show or whatever. It was this girl looking into the camera and then pretending as if she's talking to somebody else, and then maybe an AI voice is talking back at her. And it looks so dystopian. Split screen's already dystopian in the sense that my screen is getting cut in half, and now I can't see as well. And what perk do I have in the corner? I really can't see it properly on my really shit
oh
TV. Those super sucked as a kid.
yeah.
But this level of split screen where we have I mean, obviously it's completely different, but you have I don't know if you remember the trend. It's like ultra super satisfying videos. I'm glad I never fell for that. I thought how the fuck is this satisfying? Why am I spending my time watching this bullshit? um
Yeah.
those videos on the right, and on the left you have a really shit skit that's going on for way too long. Those Vine guys definitely got it correct the first time, where it's very quickly paced, but this is just going on forever. When's the punchline coming? I really don't know what's happening, but it's going slowly in a way where it's not conveying a lot of information or context on what's happening. It's just being spoken really slowly, and poorly acted and poorly paced, and I'm just going, what the fuck is happening? Why is this? Why is she just watching this in the first place? But then I always have to hold myself back and go, am I just being a conservative here? Where I'm going, oh, my childhood was totally better in terms of I didn't have this corporatized hyper
Yeah.
meta YouTube.
No. You did. You just didn't realize how bad it. Like the thing is they don't realize how bad it is for them, and we don't realize how bad it was for us. Like
Mhm.
that's what I think.
But no, when I watched YouTube, it was I started 2008. I was watching things to do with the games that I was playing. It was not an algorithm sort of pushing me around. It was, oh, okay, I wait, there's this. I found so many games through looking at YouTube. It was, wow, I love the Dragon Quest Monsters Joker, and I find this game Dragon Quest this game Dragon Quest 9 is coming out, and I'm thinking, oh, I need to get this game. This game looks sick. And there was one before called Dragon Quest 8. I remember seeing the videos for the first time and going, what the fuck? There are more. Obviously, there are more of these games, but it's I'm actually seeing them because I would never see them in person. Because they're on different consoles, blah blah blah, and seeing the previous Pokemon games. I remember I started with Generation 4, seeing the Generation 3 Pokemon games. I'm going, what the fuck? This is crazy. It's something that very much has continuity in terms of it's this could also be really bad for me. But by the way, I'm not trying to diminish away from that. But what I'm trying to say is that the continuity, I think, it's such an important factor in terms of building a character of who you are.
Of course, 100%. But I would say that I wasn't like, I would say that like, so I guess this is like where we're diverging because when I was younger, like I'm having two radically different experiences, right? I have one where I'm reading. I have, family who have really emphasized to me that thinking is important and like, all this stuff is really important and like justifying your beliefs really important. But then I also have this other part where I'm watching like, just so happens to be all of the top YouTube channels in the form of Smosh, Ningahiga, Shane Dawson, like all of these very sketch-based brain rot style. I mean, I'm looking back at Shane Dawson stuff, right? Where he's dressing up in a wig as Shanae and pretending to like not have enough money to do child support stuff. Like I'm watching like, stuff where it's like, oh, you don't go there and do it, like just like crazy racist, like, like brain rot slop where you're like, do you know what I mean? Where it's
so
not like,
interesting because I know
I'm watching 100%.
I know all those
Almost
people,
all.
but I never watched those people. I remember maybe I'm just sort of
Watch Food Fight or Smosh or anything like that.
I know Smosh because my friend used to. I remember they did raps of like current video games. I remember there was an Assassin's Creed 3 rap my friend couldn't get out of his head. And I just never watched this content. I would always be, which is really weird because I don't want to sound like I'm lying. It's like, oh, I was always an enlightened being, but I was super enlightened. No, I'm 100%. Yeah, that's the one. I remember my friend watching that. Annoying Orange. I thought Annoying Orange was.
Oh, I never liked Annoying Orange either, or Freddy. I couldn't deal with that either as a kid. But like that's like I don't know. Like I'm not like everyone has their different limits. Everyone has different limits,
I was enlightened. I actually never watched any of that shit.
I would say that I was definitely on a journey. I was not like at all, and I think that I think like it's not like I thought that this was like wow, like but it's not like I thought about what I was watching in that way either. It's not like as a kid I thought like wow, this is the non-brain rot or this is the brain rot, but this is like it's not like I was thinking as a kid either. Like as a kid, it's not like I'm thinking about like the quality of the content I'm consuming as like a relative question of what I could be consuming. Because now what I think is, oh, well, what is this relative to what I could be doing or what I could, what it could be? But now, but like as a kid, I was thinking like, is this funny? Oh, is this fun? Like, is this funny? Is it not funny? Like, is this cool? Is it not cool? I'm not thinking like, is it funny? Is it like, is it providing me whatever? I'm thinking like, is it funny enough for me to share with my friends? Is it like, is it cool? Is it like
interesting?
Like that's it for sure.
No, I didn't watch any funny content. I didn't like any of the funny content that ever appeared on YouTube.
What about like Instagram memes? Were you ever like doing like Instagram memes or like that kind of?
I don't have a stable Instagram account. I have to always make a new one. I don't use that
or
application.
Use the Imgen thing.
Would you say?
You should use that Imgen thing I sent. Have I ever sent you the Tamper Monkey script for Imgen?
No, I don't even know what Imgen is. This is the first time I've heard of it.
Imgen is an Instagram watching client. It's like this thing that I sent. This thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. so there's like don't since you don't use Instagram, it doesn't matter. But yeah, like the point, yeah, like point is you don't use Instagram. It's not you were never in the Instagram meme, like because to me I see that as the precursor to brain rot stuff. Like I don't see brain rot as this like new thing, and I see it as kind of the continuation of like YouTube poop and like the annoying orange, and, like Fred and like all these other things. Like if you look at their antecedents, it's like and then like
Wait,
even the
what'd you
like
say?
you know
Antecedents? What did you say?
antecedents, yeah, like all of the precursor
Is that
you
a
know
word or is
factors.
that
Yeah, yeah,
and how do I spell that? And
uh,
is that a C or an S?
um,
You just type it out to me.
yeah,
Antecedents. I found it. The actual state of going before in time, preceding antecedents. Oh, I got it.
yeah. So if you look at all the antecedents, like preceding brain rot, you're looking like at the if you're looking at the antecedents of brain rot, you're seeing the annoying orange, the fucking all you know, I'm seeing the slime, the Nickelodeon slime, where they're fucking sliming people and like the green goo. You know, I'm seeing
I don't
all of
even know
these
what the
things,
fuck
and I'm
that is.
thinking like, oh, you don't know about yeah on Nickelodeon there was this thing called Nickelodeon that was like that's where SpongeBob was in America. That's like the network for
I know what
SpongeBob in America.
Nickelodeon is, but
Right,
I
right.
don't know what the
Okay, but
green
there was
time
a
is.
Nickelodeon award show that took place every year where
Mhm.
if you won, you were just doused in this green goo. And it was just like it was
That's
total like
awesome.
brain
I love
rot,
that.
it was just like random like kid like slime thing. It was like, oh, you know, iCarly won an award. Time to get goo, you know, green goo. It's just like it's like brain rot. It's like there's no logical connection between these things. It's just funny, crazy, wacky, you know. Like so I think this is always how kids entertainment has kind of been, but there's definitely an acceleration of it that's like I think changing it a little bit. Like
I don't think I watched any. I had an aversion to live action things. I say live action, but just people that used real actors as a kid. So when a cartoon, I know people will talk about iCarly or Drake and Josh, or whatever the fuck the other shows were.
Yeah.
I never watched any of those. I hated all those. I only just wanted to watch
Really?
Phineas and Ferb and all the cartoons. I was super into cartoons.
I kind of like
I suppose.
cartoons, and I like both. I mean, it's not like I saw a difference between Phineas and Ferb and iCarly. I saw them as like the same thing to me in my mind.
Oh, okay. Definitely that
Yeah.
kid from the NFL football player video.
Yeah, definitely. I'm like that's the same category. That's kids show. It's like how I thought of it. I was like,
So
that's a kids show.
interesting.
I'm like, you got the kids channels with the kids shows, and you got the adult channels with the adult shows. That's like how I thought of it as a kid, 100%. Like
I saw
for
them
me,
as-
I'm not
yeah,
I'm
go
not trying to say I'm not trying to say you're lying, but and it's because it's fully possible that you had this continuity. But I think for me, I have a semi-accurate sense of like how I thought about it as a kid, and I definitely wasn't thinking about. I wasn't like because like I definitely had like, oh, that's a girl show. Like I would have that. Like I'd be like, oh, I have an aversion to
yeah,
that
I
because
had
it's
that
like
too,
a
of course.
girly. No, of course, right? But I'm saying like that's the type of thought I had. I didn't have like a I'm suspicious of the nature of this. You know, like so I don't think it's
Oh, it
fair
wasn't
to
about
have
a
to expect
suspicious
that of
thing.
kids. Okay, yeah. So what
yeah,
was it? It was like
yeah,
just
it
thing?
was-
A
it
raw,
was-
like that feeling.
when you look at the I guess they're fundamentally different in terms of okay setting. The setting is usually a bunch of it's very grounded. It's not people using powers and all that type of stuff, but it's also the scenery is always just like one guy's house and it's the same thing, or at least from what I can remember, because I didn't. You might be calling me out and go, no, actually every season is actually a different person's house or whatever the fuck. But from what I remember, it was always sort of this same
always the same place.
setting
Yeah,
that
100%,
existed, and I hated that. And the fact that it's all in one setting, where watching Dragon Ball and just going to different places. It's like, oh, they're on Namek now. To me, that was just the sense of wonder. I was always into fantasy as a kid, and so the sense of wonder of going to different places in these shows, and that's why I moved more onto the internet in terms of I'm just watching people play games that I can't afford or don't have the console to.
Oh yeah, I did too.
To me that was really satisfying. It's I'm watching people traverse through different environments, and to me that was very special. But also the nature of the shows being more of we're seeing sort of different
It's a whole world.
It's a whole world, but also the scope. Obviously, that's what I talked about, but also the seriousness of the show. The shows of I'm in one place all the time. It's always sort of. It's not Naruto. What do you call it? Like Sasuke's whole clan getting completely wiped out, and then you have these intense battles that take themselves way too seriously. It's like, oh, it's Orochimaru in the village, and everyone's just like freaking out. To me, the sense of sort of you just get so into that because they're taking themselves seriously. This is
That's true.
so yeah, I fundamentally saw these shows as completely different. I can never get into. It's like where is the Orochimaru
Like,
equivalent?
When I'm reading Naruto, like I'm thinking that's more adult than when I was like reading like Calvin and Hobbes for sure. You know, like that's how I thought of it. But I didn't
Wait,
think of this as
Calvin
like
and who?
Calvin and Hobbes, or like
I don't know what that
fucking like that's like an American comic strip, or like Garfield.
Okay.
Like I didn't read a lot of Garfield. I thought Garfield was shit, but like I would like speed through Garfield comics. Actually, I literally would
really
refuse to like Garfield comics. I would only ever read them at this like at the store. Because my parents would do it, they would go downtown and they would just drop me off at like the bookstore, and then I would just like sit in the bookstore and like read all of their Garfield comics there, and then buy the comic books I actually liked to like take home.
That's really funny. Why were you even reading the Garfield comics in the shop?
I read all the comics. I read all the comics as a kid. It's like why? It's like it's like, oh, I like this thing. I'll do as much of this thing as I can. It's kind of how I always approached like reading and stuff. It's like, oh, if I like I didn't like Garfield enough, but there were always like some like my distinct memories. There were some strips that I actually like laughed so hard my stomach hurt with some of them. Like some of them were that funny. But it was like one of like 8 books would have one like that, and it was not worth it. So like most of them were just like dog shit about like Odie being like the dog being pushed off the counter or something. Like it was just like not funny. But then there were ones where like he's like John's like asking out and like borderline stalking the like veterinarian that like actually like made me laugh so fucking hard. Like so I remember that. I have like such strong memories of that. But it's so funny you're saying it because like I was actually revisiting like all of the I was like revisiting because I've been struggling to get like my cat out of my head, you know, like just so I was trying I was thinking about warrior cats. I was thinking I read a series called Warrior Cats as a kid. It's called Warrior. Really influential book on me, but series on me. There's about like, you know, 4 like I read like I think up to the 5th arc. I think there's 8 arcs now currently.
Oh, there's
but
arcs. Okay, that's sick.
Yeah, there's like there's like generations and like there's like a whole like social structure. So there's like these 4 clans. If you look up Warriors Cats, you'll see what I'm saying.
Yeah, I just looked it up right now. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh, this is a fucking major. But what's crazy is looking back on it. Like I looked back on it recently, and I'm like, damn, this is a fucking right-wing ass series. Like basically the whole series is about how like there's these like mystical social structures. There are these star clans. Okay, there's this thing called a star clan. There are 4 clans: the Fire Clan, the Leaf Clan, the Wind Clan, the Water. No, that's like Naruto, but you know what I mean. Like it's basically like that. Right? Like, there's the Grass Clan. There's the fucking fucking Shadow Clan. There is like a fucking other Bramble Clan or something. But basically, the whole thing is they have these scent markers, and they have really defined nation states essentially. And then they have these scent markers where there are these patrols, and they're constantly smelling for like intruders coming in. And there's a clan leader, and then there's a clan medicine cat who's like the mystical person who attaches to the Star Seer, the Star Clan, and so they can get like guidance from the Star Clan that then goes to the leader, and the leader listens to the Star Clan because they get 9 lives as the leader in exchange for like listening to like the Star Clan giving the blessing. But it's incredibly like basically like a hierarchical structure, and most of the plots are like, okay, one naive but well-meaning cat tries to find peace between the clans and breaks tradition. This leads to the downfall and inevitable war. Like this leads to war. Like the seeking of peace like leads to war. Like the other thing it teaches is like, oh, one of the most dangerous thing is like an authoritarian, like charismatic populist type person who like rallies the people and tries to unify them. Like that will always lead to death and destruction. And there was one that
That's
was like,
funny because that's Dune.
In retrospect, there's literally well, it's like the classic story of like it's like that's Plato. Like Plato says like that's the kind of leader that is like the, you know, the fallen the fallen tyrant is like the person who decides to be too ambitious for their own good. They try to overthrow the system that really is the good thing and the stable thing, and the most important thing is the system. And like it's like that's the right wing. That's like the base of what right wing thought is. Like we need to preserve the system against any and all forces, both internal and external. And like half of the warning is the obvious warning of, oh, nation states from outside, if they try to invade us, we'll fight them. But the second unstated thing is that if you try to change shit from inside, we'll also fight it, right? That's the internal, that's the kind of underlying right-wing thing there. And so I was looking back on this and I was realizing that one of the plot lines, so this is coming out, right? 2004, 2005, one of the plot lines is literally about an Al-Qaeda style terrorist camp, right? That is going into cats' dreams and turning them into sleeper agent terrorists called the Dark Clan. And the Dark Clan is a clan that is this like radical, essentially terrorist cell that is trying to train them in this like forest camp area in their dreams. And Jay Feather, the hero, is basically this intelligence analyst who his job is he goes through everyone's dreams and he looks for signs of subversion. He looks for cats that are turning before they even realize they're turning. And so it's literally a story about the hero intelligence agent fucking rooting out all of the like subversive dark clans who are trying to turn against. And I had a totally different memory of what the series was about, because I remember the like fun stuff of like, oh, the way they viewed the cars as like giant rumbling monsters. Like one of the things that stood out to me so much was how they would describe from their perspective cars. And I thought that was so interesting. I was like, yeah, that probably is how cats see cars, is these giant loud monsters they have to like avoid and like be scared of, right? Like that makes total sense. And like, or like there's like environmentalism undertones, because at one point the forest is like getting cleared and they have to like rescue each other from these cages that like the people had put the cats into to like clear them out so they can clear out the woods. And so they have to like break in and like break the cats out of the cages and like migrate to this other like new homeland that they've been like prophesized with, like the Star Clan. Like I didn't really pick up on all the like post 9/11 war on terror kind of myths of like that were there, but dude, like so much of it is about how like, oh, they're these like dovish, kind-hearted, but ultimately naive people who they try to fucking unify the clans, and oh, it doesn't go well because the other clan is actually always bad, and then you can never trust them, and you can never negotiate with your enemies because they'll always try to get you, and we got to go to war before they go to war with us. Like it was all like neo-conservative, like right-wing shit, and I was like, damn, like that's fucking crazy. Like that was being fed to me as a kid. In retrospect, I'm like, damn, like that shit fucking like
Also,
was not good.
There is a commentary there where I was talking about the Diary of the Wimpy Kid things, where how much of the kids how much are kids really internalizing some of these messages? I mean, for sure there are messages. There are messages that are being internalized, but I think some are just so I guess some you just don't even see it, but just from even your memory. Now that doesn't mean because of the way you remember that means that you didn't internalize messages that you don't even understand, because obviously that can happen. I was just talking about that earlier too with EXE, where he has no idea that he's internalized the way of imaging himself. That is fundamentally based on the outside, because that could only come out from the outside, not from within. Things don't, in terms of the way you view yourself. In terms of like really interesting term, the hyper rationalization of the way you look, where like very the minutia of oh yeah, this is the fourth section of the chin or whatever the fuck, where you have all these terms, and obviously doctors would know, or whatever the fuck would know all the names of these stuff. When it's a random going to me, or I hear a random talking about, oh yeah, the blah, 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 part of the face, I'm going, what is the blah 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 part of the face? And the fact that you're seeing, the fact that what, or you have an image of what this part of the face should look like, that's not from within. That shit is completely imposed on you from sort of what society values, and then you're internalizing that, but you don't even know where that comes from, and you go, oh, I don't have that memory of that.
Funny situation in that, because she'll try to explain, because she has like a full awareness of like the nervous system structure of like the throat and stuff like that, but it's either all in Spanish or in Catalan, right? So so the actual like terms, because the terms for this are so fucking important, when you're looking at. And also it's funny, like thinking about doctors seeing people this way is so funny too, like that they see people as like, oh, that person has a really enlarged like plasmatea, like platypus, like they got a depressor angular-oris
and orbicularis. Oh, they have an enlarged orbic? That's interesting.
Yeah, they have an enlarged orbic, dude. Like, what's up with that? Like, their orbic's looking off. Like that kind of shit is, like, so funny to me to imagine doctors, like, saying that shit. But, yeah, like, she's in the same situation. Like, she's a very funny representation of that, because, yeah, it's, like, so clearly from without, because it's not even her native languages that she's learning this stuff in, you know what I mean? But, so it creates situations where she'll, like, try to remember the, like, Spanish word for it and then have to convert it into like whatever the English word is, but it's like an obscure medical term, so the English translation is not like logical. It's not like a logical like, well, this word converts to this word. It's like completely different sometimes in English, so she can't even translate the words, but she'll like, so she has to like explain to me as like the this thingy and this thingy, like You know what I
Mhm.
mean?
I like that.
But she has it in
Yes.
really sophisticated medical like terminology that she can't even use. Like,
Get fucked.
yeah, give up. But I mean, I
But
think there are lessons that we are taking in, though. I don't think it's just that we're missing. I think we are taking in a lot of those lessons. We don't even realize it. And like,
mhm.
because what you're saying is the hyper rationalization. It's like imagine that like you have a context window. Like you have a context window, kind of like an AI. Like AI has like a limited window it can use for your conversation in terms of how much information it's taking into context. We have that in life, where like if you have a memory, it's been 20 years since you've thought of it. Well, you have a context window that's diminished a bunch for what is even taking place there. So you're
Mhm.
trying to rationalize the way you developed, but you don't even remember enough of the context to really rationalize it in a real way. So you're applying a faulty process to an incorrect set amount of data because on its nature it's incorrect. You can't like you're hyper rationalizing, but in a context where you're missing all of the information necessary to actually rationalize. You know,
Mhm.
so I think
Sure.
that's what's so interesting about reconstructing memory is we're always trying to like justify something or like engage with something in the past. I think usually I don't think it's usually coming from like an objective perspective, because it can't be, because an objective perspective would tell you you don't have enough information to actually make this judgment. Like that's what an
True.
objective like statement would tell you. Like it would objectively tell you
Mhm.
you don't have enough info. But it's like, well, we want to try anyways because it's boring otherwise. It's boring to
Mhm.
just let the past die. The past is actually pretty alive, and it can be more alive if you think of it more. So,
True. Yeah.
but yeah, I think I don't know. I think we're just trying to like we're like, oh yeah, like who were we back in the day? And it's like we're trying to like I don't know, like look at something like this. Oh sorry, I said the wrong thing. Like look at something like this, and we're like, yeah, oh, I can definitely tell like what I was back then. Like that was easy. Obviously, I was. You know, it's like you're like getting fragments of things surrounded by a bunch of things you don't even know, and you're like, yeah, I got like roughly this.
Mhm. Yeah.
This is also a way of calling someone gay, by the way, with if you see the thigh highs and stuff.
Oh, okay. That's a very advanced way of calling somebody gay. Guess
Yeah,
that's a gay
I'm on
code.
the- yeah, it's gay code.
You have to keep it
There is,
serious. Not serious. Sorry. Secret.
oh yeah, I gotta keep it. It's the gay community, the gay community of Cambridge, the gay Cambridge Society of Faggotry,
Yes.
Society of
Faggotry,
Anglo,
yeah. It's funny because I said
Society
that
of
word
Anglo
yesterday. And I felt
Yeah.
so bad because I said it to EXE. I'm going. Oh, that's some faggotry.
Why are you
um,
feeling bad about it? It's funny. You don't
I
have
feel.
any hate in your heart. You're not
Oh,
a
I
fucking. You're not a
absolutely
hater.
don't. But I.
I know. He knows that too. Yeah, realize
Mm,
like we're not. People are not feel. I mean, maybe he's different in this, but like I'm not feel unless there's someone who has like hate in their heart that is clear about that. Like it's never affecting me. I think I'm maybe
oh
just
yeah, for
lucky
sure.
in that.
Yeah.
I just
Oh
don't.
no,
So
no,
it
yeah,
probably just.
I definitely feel the same way as you do. So. um, no, I feel bad for saying it because when it's in the context of LTG. I'm around LTG and I'm saying, oh, this guy, or sorry, I say around LTG, around his content. And so when I'm saying that, it just this guy is so homophobic. I hate to look like the guy that's internalizing the homophobic message by saying faggot, because I sent him a clip of this guy saying fuck the agates, fuck the fucking agates or something. So I hate to be the guy that's like, oh yeah, I mean, it probably I wouldn't be surprised if that's what triggered my love for the word faggot from back in my Minecraft days, because that was my favorite slur to use. We wouldn't say nigga, we'd just say faggot. That wasn't him. That was probably more of a Call of Duty thing that people like doing, and that's why all the COD zombies kids from BO3 like to say that word instead of faggot. But we will, if you listen to, I mean, me in 2018, it would just be me saying faggots rather than nigga. Because, yeah. That's,
I mean, but yeah, like a lot of these books I think have pretty deep impacts on us. I think we're developing in ways we don't fully comprehend. And I think oftentimes we only realize how we've interpreted questions and like what the questions even meant to us like years later. Like a lot, I don't know. Like a lot of times I'm just realizing like what I was actually saying when I was saying different things. It's very, I've become much less literalist of like what was going on in the time, and realizing that like, oh, like just because I wanted something to be about something doesn't mean it was about that thing. And I don't know, for relationships too, I guess part of it is like what was actually taking place versus what I wanted. Like what did I want out of the relationship in the moment? Okay, I can remember that, but if I'm looking at the larger relationship, I have to remember like what actually took place. I can't just be stuck in like a nostalgia or like a wish of like what was. you know?
Mm-hmm. That's
I don't know if that
interesting.
makes any sense. It's like I want the stories that I learned to be like, okay, the most satisfying thing is, here's the most satisfying thing. What if all of the messages you learned were constantly building upon each other and creating a larger, more clear picture? Like that's what you would want. You would want that the life that you lived is a life where the messages built upon themselves to make things more clear. You asked questions, you gained answers, you gained clarity, you build answers which lead to questions, which lead to answers, which lead to questions. Like that's what you would expect. But that's not been my life at all. I've realized a lot of my life has been encountering things, being fed some nonsense, some truth, parts of the truth being framed in ways that didn't really make me aware of the nonsense. Like kind of this constant, okay, there's some of it's here is real, some of it's not real, like constantly grappling with it, like trying to understand what's going on. But that only really started when I was like maybe 17. Like before that, I was like very much more like, okay, I need to know what's true and what's not true, what's real and what's false. Then I started realizing I'm like, that's not like a real thing. You need to be more like, okay, what's going on here in a bigger sense, right? And then I'm now more in the sense of, okay, what do people want me to think is going on here, and how does that help them do things in certain ways, you know? So like the way that I'm even thinking about the questions are changing. It's not this linear process. It's very like up and down, and like there's peaks and valleys and stuff, you know what I mean? So like I think it's tough to say a trajectory of like your sister's watching iPads and so she's doing the dual screen thing. Like I think you have to expect she's gonna go through these weird spikes and weird changes. Like I don't, but like, you know, and just because you didn't have that experience doesn't mean it's not, you know, likely. And maybe your path was more linear and more like straight up, but I think for a lot of people it's very up and down, and it's very like back and forth and uncertain and kind of zigzag.
Very linear at all, but yeah,
Okay.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, because it could be from what you were saying. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wait, give me an example.
Well, what you were saying is that you learned about video games that you wanted to play or couldn't play. That's very linear.
Mhm.
That's I want to
Okay.
know about a thing. I in video game information, and then I want to then use this tool for getting a video game information, which I then can apply to playing video games, and then I can then use that video game playing to gain questions. I can then ask YouTube, which can then give me like, oh, here's ways you can play this, or strategies you can do, or like here's a way to do this. And now I'm like, okay, I'm now doing this, but I'm realizing, oh well, what if I can do this with this video game now? And so then I'm asking YouTube, like, is there this? And like so it's a very linear back and forth. It's like I want a thing, I want to know what's going on with this thing, and I get the answer to the thing, and that gives me more questions for the thing. It's very like, I think that's linear. I think that's very linear. It's like step one, step two, okay, repeat step one after step two. Like yeah, that's like what linear is. Plus one, plus one, plus one, plus one. You know, it's like, like if you think of a line, like a graph, there's like plus one, it's like constantly, right? Like both, like it's going 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, right? Like that's the.
I might be hyper focusing on my sister, just because I see her engaging in content, but it might be the fact that that actually more of how people engage with the internet is just like this. If that's the case, that made me go sad in terms of I actually said this too. I think I said this a while back where I was saying I think you asked me a question. It was about children on the internet. I was saying, I think adults being on the internet is actually a problem. I think in some aspects, I recognize that there is a fundamental problem of the way adults use it. Just because you turn 18, you magically know how to use the internet. That's bullshit. You don't.
Or anyone ever really knows how to use the internet. Like I don't know. Like if I was to really think about it, I'm like, dude.
You probably know. In terms of the way you use the internet, in terms of the way you're trying to, scam. I say scam, sail the high seas. When it comes to yes, ahoy there, matey.
I'm trying to hoist my flag.
Put the Jolly Roger up. There's just a way more conscious way of using the internet as opposed to.
Definitely.
I'm surprised how many people pay for this stuff. I don't feel as though I'm that intelligent at using the internet, but seeing
so much better than most people. It's crazy.
Yeah, probably so. And
I freak out at my friends when I realize it. Like, dude, I'll talk to some of my real life friends that I don't talk to for I'll talk to them every couple months or something like that, and they'll just tell me things that they did, and I'm like, what? I'm like getting pissed at them. I'm like, don't ever do that. I'm like, don't ever fucking pay for that shit. Come to me always. Never ever. I'm like, never ever do that. I'm like, I will always tell you. I'm like, maybe I haven't responded to your last message. Don't worry about it. Send me a question about the fucking piracy. I will always do it. One of my friends was telling me that he's pissed about how many ads are on YouTube and I almost fucking broke my fucking phone. I was like, what are you? I was like, dude, did you not do any of the things I said last time with the fucking? And he had forgotten to set up the uBlock, and I'm like, dude, I was like, made him. I walked him through that. I was so pissed. I was so pissed.
Yeah, that's.
Dude, how are people doing that? Like, how are people sitting there being like, oh, I don't mind ads very much. I'm like, dude, what are you talking
That's
about?
insane,
Like,
yeah.
what a crazy statement. Like, I don't mind ads. Like, yeah, I don't mind Chinese water torture either. I don't know. Like, what are we talking about?
When I started using my phone more, that's the immediate thing I tried to remedy. Where, and it wouldn't let you use YouTube outside of the app. As in, I couldn't lock my phone and then listen to the application. And so I just found workarounds for that. Obviously, I'm pretty sure 5.5 had a completely different workaround to me, but
he did, yeah. It's a really good one. It's like the side-loaded YouTube like client or some shit on fucking Android. Like he's like side-loading SDKs for like a YouTube client because he's fucking built different, dude. He's fucking talking about it, dude.
The way I did it was I just use a browser, and then the browser lets me listen to whatever's in the browser while it's logged, and then I can just get all my ad blockers in the browser. So that's how I figured it out.
It's exactly what I did too, and like. But what bothers me is like people don't see things as barriers to overcome, and like I don't know. I've always been different in that. I will say, like, I was trying to do things. I was like, I always have a situation where it's like I am trying to solve a problem. I guess I guess that is something that I do like bring to the table with that, where it's like whenever I've used the internet, I am trying to solve a problem, and even if it's like just I'm bored and I don't want to think right now, like I use the internet for that too. Like it's always like but I'm always conscious of like what I'm trying to solve, I guess. So I'm like, when I was like, oh, I need to get editing software, like people, I'm like, oh, I'm using Windows Movie Maker. And people are like, you're using Windows Movie Maker? I'm like, yeah. And then it's funny because in retrospect with Vegas, like I was just doing split, sync the sound, upload, like a render. Like it wasn't even like I was using it for like that.
I was using Vegas like that, until I got more efficient.
Yeah, exactly. But like that's like the standard, like especially as a kid when I was doing zombie montage stuff. Like that was my, my method. And like it's just funny to look back on that, being like, but as a kid, even though it was like, yeah, I'm fucking getting the KHG like client like version of Sony Vegas, Pro 12 or whatever. I'm getting I'm getting all of the stuff for free on the fucking on the PC. It's like $700, and I took a lot of pride in that. Like I remember being really prideful with myself of like getting expensive stuff for free, and like. And then I was like, but then I realized I'm like, when I got Adobe After Effects Pro, because I was just like, yeah, I'll get Adobe After Effects and I'll get all this other shit. I was like, what am I even using this for? Like, I realized I'm like, okay, it doesn't matter if you have expensive software if you can't even use it. Like I realized like, like as a kid, I was like, what's the point of having all this expensive stuff? Like, I'm like, it doesn't matter if I can't even use it. Like, what? Who cares? Like,
I probably didn't. I used all the stuff I pirated were direct responses to all the sort of industry standard. I should say community standard video tools. So everyone in Minecraft used Sony Vegas, and so I think Minecraft specific was a very conscious community in terms of very quick to figure out the way the bit rates work and how to optimize bit rates by upping the resolution. That just gives you a way better bit rate. They had texture packs to decrease the sound of the video, and so it would play so much better. Like clear glass, like flat netherrack. It had all these sort of methods to optimize quality. Now, I'm not as deep into other communities, but just in zombies, that was never a thing in terms of, I had to tell people, oh yeah, 1440p, you need to do 1440p, so you get the VP9 codec immediately. And even then, even if you have VP9 codec on 1080p, the bit rate is still so much more inferior to 1440p. It's basically a must to upload in 1440, and I'm getting questions like, but I don't have a 1440p monitor, and clip isn't 1440p, and I'm going, it doesn't matter. This is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about bit rate. I'm talking about bit rate, not the resolution. And I already have a 1-to-1 scale script that will encode it. That will re-encode the video. What the fuck? I don't even know the terms. It will do a 1-to-1. So if you did 1080p, it will do a 1-to-1 conversion to 1440 at or 4K or whatever the fuck you set the script to. And because in Sony Vegas, when you render, it doesn't it does a blurry rendering, it doesn't do like bilinear or something, and you can't change this. And so or at least the versions that we used back in the day. And so yeah, we had all these ways to optimize the quality on YouTube, so we were uniquely aware. Other communities didn't find that out until a long time after. Where I'm talking, when I'm hearing Frenzy talking about, oh yeah, this 1440p thing, I'm going, yeah, it was 2017 when I figured that out.
Yeah.
Very very long time ago.
But like that's what's I think beautiful about the Minecraft community, and like the people that I would get helping me on the cool stuff were always people that were a part of like Minecraft community, or like it'd be like Stret people or people who were part of like the Rubik's Cube community. Like
That's funny.
technical people were always so helpful to me in my life. Like they've been the most generous and like helpful.
100%, yeah. But yeah, in terms of all the tools that I had, I only just got them because, oh, this is just the sort of standard that everyone uses. I can't use them to anywhere near the full capacity, but I get a level of sort of I absorb the their optimizations for in the software, even though I don't know how to fully optimize it. I get to absorb all of that, and so that's why I engage with the software. And yeah, I guess I never, but I don't know if you've ever edited anything in After Effects, so I don't know if you're saying that as in, oh, what'd you say?
No, never.
Oh, okay, so you were just collecting them like Pokemon cards, like, oh, this is really
Well,
expensive.
that's fucking cool. Yeah, I was like, well, because as a kid, I was like,
Okay.
it's cool to get stuff for free. Okay, so
Mhm.
this is the logic, right? It's cool to get stuff for free. It's cool
Mhm.
to get expensive stuff for free. The more expensive stuff you get, the cooler it is. I bet I
Mhm.
can do cool stuff with this expensive stuff. Let me get as much as I can. Like that was the kind of set of logic I was
That-
operating at.
Yeah,
So
that super makes sense. I could see that because it does feel
Yeah.
good to get something for free that wasn't meant to be paid for. So yeah, I could totally see you coming to that conclusion, but no, I never
but then worthless for what and what and for what, right? So it's like that's
use
like,
this for anything.
but like that's the thing that I've realized is like over my life is that I was pretty good overall at being like, oh yeah, and for this, and it's actually important for this, like to be very mission focused and not be so like, I don't know, because like I think a lot of the way people use the internet is very like, let me see what the internet has to offer today, and like I kind of do
That's
that to some
crazy.
extent when I'm checking things,
Mm.
but when you really think about it, I think that's how people use the internet. Like they're like going
Purely.
on purely. It's like they're like, yeah, like what does the who's streaming, what does the who's uploaded, like what's been posted on
Oh,
the
that's-
Reddit, like what's been posted on Twitter. Like that's the most basic
That's
way
what
people use
zombies-
the internet.
That's why zombies conversations are really bad, because that's actually what they were. It was, oh, who's getting bad RNG today? Who's failed today? No, I don't care.
Oh, did you hear about this happened? And it's like, I mean, again, it can be relevant, and that's like a lot of conversations in general, right? But I think the internet has so much more potential as like a dynamic, interactive thing where you like have questions and you find answers, and you have questions and the answers, and I think using it that way is the optimal way. And stuff.
Oh yeah, 100%. Yeah, that's why I hate when the internet is sort of shorthand for. It's funny I say shorthand, but social media. Why the fuck why the fuck are people saying, oh, you're on the internet or whatever the fuck? No, you're on social media all the time. That's your problem. You're on the 5 major web applications that people use, and that's your phone. That's the hole that you fell down. Don't take it out on all the other internet users that are doing really cool ingenious stuff on the internet. Yeah, but you said something interesting earlier. It was about you fundamentally you saw you saw your experience, or you saw I guess your things that you saw on the internet. You saw it as a puzzle to overcome, something to be solved, which is funny because I wonder if that's a gaming thing, where in gaming that's how, or at least the games I play. And I would say probably at least games that males play, they are fundamentally solving you're solving something. The puzzle is just very abstract and complex. I say complex, but it's not like the puzzle is complex in terms of very hard to solve, but complex in terms of it's not very obvious that it's a puzzle. Where you're playing zombies, and really it is just a puzzle where it's okay, well, how do I get further? And that's, you know, how do I build a strat? You know, how am I, what is the, you know, best way to do this? And well, maybe I'm hyper selecting because Minecraft community, zombies community, this is really hyper selecting for the most ambitious players in the game. Most competitive players in the game, and so they're the people that see everything as a puzzle piece to be solved. But I wonder if gamers, now too many people game for this to be, you know, necessarily true, but I wonder if there is more of a high proclivity for gamers to be the more problem-solving types, where they're not very satisfied with the you know, whatever the fuck is put in front of them. They've always, you know, heavily, you know, optimized. They're, you know, gamers are the ones that are pirating everything, probably. They're probably. Would you say?
I would really assume, just to say, like, that. And here's my basis for this is that when I was researching the advertising industry, one thing that came up a ton was just how much time and effort and money they have to spend to target gamers as an audience, because they use so many content blockers and they're so not like in the mainstream of the sort of internet conversation and world. Like, they're not getting involved in like the Super Bowl or like K-pop stuff or like Taylor Swift stuff. They're not like getting a part. So like that was part of the problem that these advertisers had with gamers, is that they had to spend so much money. But then what they realized is like, oh, the gaming industry is basically bigger than the movie and TV industry combined, in theory and in practice. And so what we need to do is we need to figure out how to fucking reach them. And so that's like a lot of why there's like so much investment in like Major League Gaming, kind of these spectacle things, because and so much investment in like content creators that are gamers, because they need spectacles and places where viewers can see their advertisement.
Interesting. Hold on, let me go and take a piss.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Cute. I love that. Pirate cat. Arr.
I know. Arr. Arr.
Yes.
It's so cute. Arr.
Oh.
It's like walking more. Arr. Dude, it hates being in that costume for sure. It fucking hates me. Dude, that's another thing I love about cats, is that like when they put him in costume, because my sister would always put my cat in, like my kitty, my former gray cat in the costume, like, and like she fucking hated that shit. Like my black cat could never be put in costumes because she just wouldn't let it. She was just like refused. Like
That's awesome.
she would do like protest shit and get fucking like pissed and like She never fucking bit us. She started biting us and we tried to put her in costumes. Like it was all like I just love that like independence so much. Like that kind of mindset of like, nah, I'm not putting that on. Like that's why with dogs, they're like, okay, I'll put on anything, like whatever you want me to put on. Like that's why I have less like not like I love my dog too, but like less respect for dogs as a whole. It's just because they're so like willing to do whatever. Whereas cats are like, not gonna, and then the kitty's in the R. It's looking so cute. It's looking so cute. It
It's
looks adorable.
independence.
No, but I love that he, like, but that's the thing. It's like I'm looking at him like it's adorable, but then I'm also thinking it's adorable that the cat's like, what the fuck?
Fighting
Why am I
back.
in this shit? Hating
Yeah.
this shit. Yeah, it's so adorable. I love that. Yeah.
Oh, that was I remember Richard Lewis always talked about sort of the sustainability of esports and sort of lamenting how the path that CS esports went down. Specifically because he's in CS. He's talking about sort of anyway, I don't want to go down all the stuff he talks about, but sort of the end point, which is esports really just isn't that profitable, and so he's always saying that, you know, you motherfuckers just don't buy any of the merch. He's always saying that because gamers just refuse to buy or spend the money on any of the oh, there was actually this Capcom fiasco.
That's so funny.
The next Capcom Cup, which is basically an end-of-year tournament for people that attain attain the most points in the tour. It's funny because it's called Capcom Pro Tour because it's only for Street Fighter because they burnt all their other incredible IPs. Yeah, kind of weird. And so you now have to pay I think like 60,000 yen or something, or 6,000 yen, which is like $40. You have to pay $40 to be able to. It was that was sort of the full package if you want to do day 1, day 2 for the esports league, and the it comes in one package: esports league final and the what you call it? I think it was E-League or something, Capcom E-League, and then Capcom Cup. And so this is sort of, aside from EVO, this is the biggest tournament in terms of interest and storylines and all that. And so the fact that they're making you pay now, this is all used to be free. This is just massive riots. No one wants to pay for anything. Everyone wants to just be a freeloader, which, you know, fundamentally I see the game as a I see esports as an advertising vehicle for your
100%,
game.
100%. That's what it is. Or whoever's sponsoring it, or like the MSI, like whatever, like, you know what I mean? And like, but I think the more effective advertising vehicle is what they realize longer term, just to say, is PC hardware fetishization. Like they realized that you could like fetishize the process of like building PCs and like hardware and stuff to the point where it would attract people. But it's really interesting because that strategy ran into the problem of the fact that graphics cards are now priced out of the average gamer's like
that's crazy.
like band, right? But what that, so now think about how these things are intersecting, right? You have a whole ecosystem of hardware fetishization where everyone gets the newest thing, and then they fucking have to look at these YouTubers building computers now that they'll never be able to afford, and testing stuff now that they'll never be able to afford. And all that's done is create a ton of resentment now. Like that, there's just a ton of resentment about how they've been priced out of like the markets, and that they're being
100%.
like shown content that is fundamentally irrelevant to them now because they can't afford to build these new things. So I think that's really funny too, is that like the advertising strategy they realized of fetishizing PC stuff, like they realized this like 2016 plus with the like, you know, like the way that they made the Founders Edition for the 1080 Ti look, the way that they made that card look like was specific, and the way that they've made so many cards since then are so specifically designed around these gaming PC builds that were like meant to be these like really aesthetic double stacked graphics cards with like everything perfect, and it's all silver, and it's all like, you know what I mean, they had like this the focus on RGB too. Like I think these things kind of were aligned at the same time. These kind of aligned at like 2016 plus 2015 plus. And I think that's like what they but then it's funny because it's now backfired on them, because now everyone's pissed because they can't buy these graphics cards, and Nvidia's like, oh shit, now we just have a bunch of gamers that are pissed at us for
and the
not
cards
being
are
able to
not
afford our
even
product.
being elevated to the
anymore.
same extent as the 10 series, which is really funny because Steam does a hardware survey, and there's still such a big block of 10 series. I'm one of them. I just stuck with 10 series because
my new card broke. My new fucking card broke, so.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
I got this AMD card that didn't turn out to be as good as I thought it was, and then I fucking plugged in a new HDMI cable and it fucking fried it.
That's so unfortunate. Yeah.
Shout out AMD.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds like AMD.
Oh wait, what is
Apparently.
the hardware survey? Okay, so primary. What's the okay, video card. Okay, boom. Whoa, that's crazy.
Share screen.
Yeah, okay.
Boom. Yeah, you can see all the
All the video cards.
mhm.
So what's the highest? Okay, the 4060, 4%, 2%. Okay, the Radeon internal graphics. Jesus Christ.
Awesome. Yeah.
People using fucking dial-up still. 4070 laptop is 1%. Dude, fucking
Yeah,
ridiculous.
that's quite a lot. Yeah.
2% of Radeon graphics. But not internal at least. Radeon still.
4050 laptop 1.44. That's a lot.
1650 through almost 3%.
Wow.
1060
1060. Yeah.
almost 2%, about to be 2%.
Mm.
Okay, 1%, 4070 Ti, 3070 Ti, 1%. The
3070 is
14,
2.34.
yeah, 1050 is 14, 1.44%.
Mm.
1.62%, 5070. Oh damn, 3060 is wow, almost
Wow.
4.5%.
What? Is there a way that you can order them by percentage? Wow, that's really stupid.
That is really stupid.
Yeah. Come on, Steam. I like how Steam is so archaic too. Steam has a lot of goodwill, which is really funny. Ordered these for me. Oh, wow. That's so useful. You're scrolling up there for quite a while now.
I know, let's do it this way. Order by series of graphics card users per 10 series, 20, 30, 40, 50. Do AMD separate, group by generation as well for the following card.
Just a sec. I hate how I was telling my uncle this. I was saying how derivative all the AI platforms are, where they all just look the same.
They all look the same, yeah.
Yeah, so that was really unfortunate. You said I was there was a language barrier too, saying that was unfortunate. Because he thought I was shaming the developers, and going, no, I'm saying it's just unfortunate.
Well, yeah, the lack of diversity. Okay,
Yeah,
so 50
exactly.
series is 6%, 40 series is 22%, 30 series is 22%, 20 series is 5%, 10 series is 13%. Okay, and then the AMD Radeon, the RX 7000, that's like the series I have. Is the RX 9? This is the one I had, and it broke. Total users 2%. Okay. Okay.
Hey, wait, so scroll up. What are the differences? So, 30.
Wait, let me just send this to you.
Okay. Yeah.
Check this out. You can go here, and it copies it in Markdown format, which is so helpful
Awesome.
for this. I can just set it here, so it just gives you basically a version of the same. Isn't that fucking sick? How the Markdown combination? The other one that I use for Markdown is, and I got this from Damien as well. So much of my stuff I've gotten from him, so it's kind of tough to.
That's really funny. He never tells me anything.
Yeah,
about any of this.
But yeah, this paste paint course is another Markdown paste bin that is, it's like a Brody. There's like a whole Brody underground that you're not even aware of, like Pony. It's like there's like a Pony.fm, which is a SoundCloud for My Little Pony. There's like entire like ecosystems dedicated, and there's even like My Little Pony coding tools and like paste bin archive. Like, I don't know, I think that's so funny how there's like entire like underground MOP. Okay,
the 40 and 30 above 22%, and then the 10 series is still hanging on 13%.
Almost 15%. Like, that's crazy when you think about it.
That's, yeah, I like how the 20 series, the 10 series was just such a big jump that the 20 series was just completely irrelevant relative.
I'm in the 1070 Ti.
Oh, I'm just regular 1070. I remember when Mod had a 1070 Ti. I'm going, really? You're ahead of me now. That was back when I was on top. Yeah, I was like, oh yeah, I just have, a really good PC. Latest Intel. and then or a generation of latest Intel, and then 1070. Yeah, that was super awesome. But then oh, actually, it's a slightly different topic. Linux. Now that Windows 10 is
Oh yeah.
ending, I don't know if I want to
Looking,
go to Windows 11.
are you learning? Are you gonna learn how to do Linux stuff?
I'll have to.
Okay, I know a bit about it too. I got the Windows subsystem. I got the Windows Linux subsystem going. I got some Linux stuff on my computer.
Mhm.
Because I mean, you have to, like, for some apps that I use, like, you actually have to run Linux as a subsystem, like Ubuntu or something,
Oh.
as a subsystem.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Yeah, you have to use Linux now. Windows users are not being catered to. But yeah, I think Windows is the lie of Windows 10 being the final one. I don't know why there's a Windows 11. And maybe you
Oh
can
my
tell
god,
me.
dude! I tried using Windows 11. So I'm putting Windows. I put a Windows 11 on my sister's, like, on my grandpa's laptop, because we're giving it to it. Basically, it broke. Like, the sound card broke. So but I was able to fix it by, like, doing a full OS reinstall. But in the meantime, he had already gotten a new laptop, so we're just gonna give this to my sister's boyfriend, this laptop. So I set it up for him again, and I built this really lightweight version of Windows 11 without all the bloat, using this guy, Chris.
Yeah, no, Chris.
Titus.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know that
Yeah,
guy.
yeah,
Yeah, I use his thing too. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And so, shout out, Gaming Ghost, another, Minecraft technical kind of person type, person. But yeah, to, like, build the lightest Windows thing, and, like, even then though, I mean, there's just still so much bloat on Windows 11, and, like, Windows 11 feels like shit, looks like shit. I hate where the bar is. I hate how everything looks on Windows 11. But I came across something about how, I guess, so by switching over to Windows 11, a lot of these companies, it's literally cheaper for them to just trash all of their PCs. And I realize this is really what's going on, is that they're boosting the rate in which they re-up the purchase of hardware from stuff. So basically, Windows is collaborating with OEMs and other, like, manufacturers to force an upgrade to Windows 11, because they said 10 would be the final. Just to say, they said 10.
Yeah, I
was
know.
gonna
That's
be
what
the
I
final
was
Windows.
just saying. Yeah.
But they're doing it
Feels
for the
super betrayed.
purpose. Right, but why are they doing this is the question. And I think the answer is that they're doing it so that the OEMs can get an upgrade cycle of hardware from all these giant corporations who have all these devices. And, like, because here's the thing, the security, the key thing is, why are they not doing security, like, services? Not because they can't, but because the no security service updates means that if you were to get a ransomware attack on your corporation, or you have hackers, like, attack your corporation, you would not only be at fault because you didn't upgrade your Windows 11 stuff, your insurance might actually not therefore cover whatever damages took place. So there's literally an insurance requirement that you have the most up-to-date security products and features. And therefore, if there's ransom attack on a system that does not have the most up-to-date, therefore, Windows 11, because Windows 10 isn't up-to-date by definition, October plus, they will get no insurance payouts. And that's such a big risk for corporations. It's better for them to just trash all these fucking PCs and buy a bunch of new ones that are already installed with Windows 11. And so there are tens of thousands of computers that are fucking headed for the e-waste dump for no fucking reason, that are perfectly usable.
I don't like how wasteful this society is that we exist.
I hate how wasteful our society is.
Do you ever unbox a product and go, why is there so much just plastic bullshit? I had a resonance with this one character from this TV show I was watching with my uncle back in 2024, where she goes, wow, the past was super wasteful. She's like a character that's being transported into the past, and she's going, wow, you guys are so fucking wasteful. And I'm looking at the thing she's unboxing, I'm going, this is not even a parody. This is just how this is how you unbox things, where there is just a bunch of bullshit, plastic and foam, and I understand how why some of this is just because to secure a package, but some of it is just completely irrelevant. At least ostensibly, a lot of it just looks, especially when a lot of the packages are in a shop.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no, I don't like. Oh, I was thinking this too. We have plastic bottles. I don't get why we used to have a milk service that I say used to, it might still exist. Where you would put your bottle.
Yeah.
Why the fuck is that not a thing anymore? Why is it? And why is there no
companies Dude, well, this is why recycling is also a fucking scam, because the whole point is that every bottle that is not produced new is a loss for their profit margins. If you're a plastics company, you're a plastics bottle company, right? What you want is to produce as many bottles as possible. What you want is as little reusable bottles as possible, because each reusable bottle is one less bottle you can fucking sell, right? So it's a zero-sum game for them, like 100%. That's why recycling is a scam, because if recycling actually worked, it would be a challenge to the monopoly over the production of new bottles, because now look at all this old, these like bottles not made by them being made out of their plastic that are competing on the market with them, right? They don't want that. That's why they fucking fundamentally undermine recycling at every turn. And that's also why they've gotten rid of all these awesome glass reusable strategies. Like, I think they've done, like, that's like been a strategy of these plastics companies to undermine alternatives to them. I think if you were to really look at it, that would be 100% the outcome you would find.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you're asking why, I think it's literally been a conspiracy of the plastics companies to undermine the ability of like reusable type things. Because that was the question is, why did we go from reusable to plastic disposal only? We had the reusable already, right? So why did we go away from the reusable, right? It's not like, oh, well, isn't this a smart idea we should have done? It's like, no, this is what we were doing before. So why did we fucking forget this?
Yeah, you don't have to set up the infrastructure
it was already there. It had to. So the only reason the fact that it doesn't exist to me means it's been undermined, and probably strategically, and probably for the interest of the plastics company, if I was to think about it.
Mm-hmm. It's actually an interesting thing to research.
Who benefit?
Yeah, I don't like that at all. How also I don't like how, because there are many things that come in glass jars. I don't know why there isn't a return scheme. Maybe there is, but there isn't something that is, at least I'm not fully aware of that. And if it was something ubiquitous, I would probably be fully aware of that. What's the controller stash? What the fuck is that? It's not.
Yeah, this is some streamer that I just clicked on, and this is in the background, and I'm just like, yeah,
do you need that many controllers?
I know, a lot of them have the same type of controller too. Like,
I don't understand that at all.
Oh no, you gotta get the
controllers.
fucking,
I don't know. I want to play the bubble one today, obviously.
I want to play the scuff. I need the fucking pads at the bottom. I need the shoot sticks.
Shoot the shoot sticks, I like that.
Whatever it is, like, those trigger stoppers thing.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. Yeah.
And the fucking and the fucking aim sticks.
That's actually. There are a lot. I think because I'm just anti-hive mind, and that's how I come to these conclusions. But I remember when scuff was a thing as a kid, and I always thought, this is fucking weird. The thing is, actually, I thought
I wanted them. I didn't get them, but I wanted them.
Interesting. I was very much. I probably could. Maybe I could get them, but I was very much. Oh, what the fuck is this? Why are you making your controller look like a monstrosity? With these scuff things, and then I just didn't buy it. They would go, oh yeah, this like I think it was like PS3 at the time had, I don't remember the terms of it was, where Xbox 360 and PS3 had different sort of sticks where they protrude out for PS3. I think they dip down for the 360, and they were talking about it was like, oh yeah, if you have a PS3, you can get Xbox 360 style sticks. I'm just going, why do I care? Why is this a thing that I need? Why do I need to emulate, 360? Or for me, I had a 360, so I'm going, why do I need to emulate, this PS3, whatever the fuck? Or why is this important for me? I just played. I played with a controller. I got the controller. Why is this better? It's sort of trying to sell me something. I'm going, I'm not getting this. This is something fundamentally I'm misunderstanding. The thing is, I think I did actually have a fundamental misunderstanding, because those trigger stops, they're actually useful. That's super useful.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Right, but I was just always immensely skeptical because,
Well, I tried the fucking extreme aim sticks that you put over on like the PS3, and I'm like, this is not better. I'm like, I'm not having benefits from using these like, do you know what I'm talking about? These like they put it's like a thing above the joystick to like increase the sensitivity and make it. And like I saw these trick shotters using it, and like FaZe people were using it. And I'm like, okay, well, FaZe obviously are the fucking best players because they're fucking hitting these great shots. Like, that's how I'm thinking back today. I'm like, well, they're obviously the best of this game. So if whatever they're using, I could probably get it. And I'm like, I don't buy the gamer glasses thing. I never bought that. It's like, well, this doesn't seem to do anything, But I was like, okay, the gamer sticks, maybe. And then it did not help. So then I never bought anything of the rest of it. So that's why I was making fun of the fucking trigger stoppers. But it's funny to learn those actually were helpful.
They're similar to keyboard activation, where if you can stop, because if you're pressing them all the way down, that's sort of a superfluous action. So if you can get it to stop somehow, you are it's going to be better. It's the same sort of concept. And so I was always skeptical of all the things that were being shilled out, even if it was contrary to the evidence of it being true. I was just going, I don't know if I buy this. G Fuel, that was when I fully became conscious of it, because I always had that very much, and also I think it's just because of the financial situation. I was in like single parent. My mom isn't going to get me all the bunch of shit, so maybe it was a very, at least to some extent, a reactionary thing where I don't know if I buy this because I'm not getting it anyway. I'm never going to get this, so I have to sort of, justify in my head why I can't own this. So, and I wouldn't be surprised if that was happening in my head too. But G Fuel was when I became conscious of it as well. What the fuck is this powder thing that people are drinking? This is insane. This is really, really weird. And why are people? And the thing is, it was something that the FaZe guys would be like obviously shitting when they had, towels of them, and I'm going, this was really weird. And then I had people reselling them at school, and I'm going, wait, people actually bought these things in the first place and then thought of to resell them, and there is a market to actually resell these products? To me, that was mind-blowing. How the fuck? Because it's not something that you culturally grow up with in terms of, oh, that's just always... I was talking about the supermarket thing, where I walk with my mom and I go, well, there's, alcohol here, and that's sort of culturally, you're inundated by these symbols of, we just have like shitty, cereal and, white bread versus, like nice, healthy, whole grain bread. And I'm going, these things shouldn't be next to each other. One should be locked up, in the deep recesses of the world, and then, the nice whole grain bread should be the one that's, it's like, oh yeah, this is what you should buy, by the way. The nice guiding hand, I'd be the very nice guiding hand. But you didn't grow up with G Fuels. So the fact that you have this, you're not immediately suspicious about it, sort of this like very conservative mindset of, what is this? A brown person? This is really weird. They might be very suspicious. I have that very as I said, I already have that very conservative mindset where I don't adopt. So you're telling me about Instagram. I didn't even, that's a very continuous thing from when I was a kid. I didn't get TikTok. I've never downloaded that shit in my life. But Instagram, I have to make a new account every time because there's such a long period of time when I need to actually use I don't need to use the application, but I want to see something. And so I have so many different Instagram accounts. I'm hyper suspicious of everything that's new, and why do I need to adopt the new? I'm very content with everything that I have. I like that. You know what? That's actually something that turned out to be just a very I guess like anti-consumer mindset where I'm very the overconsumption of just bullshit. Seeing the Japanese travel vlogs. Me and Damien were actually tearing them apart. For me, it always turned into a conversation about what'd you call it? Because I was watching women vloggers. I was going, I was just on apparently I was on a sexism arc or something. I don't know what the fuck was happening. No, I wasn't going full blown sexist, but I'm going, it's how it's always the women vloggers that always have these like really soft sort of styled videos that they sort of merge together where it could be anyone making this video. They've sort of extracted their personality out of the content. It doesn't actually exist anymore. It's sort of like, oh, look at this room. They're walking around the room and, there's this music in the background that's like really soft that you don't even really perceive it. And I'm going, because we really like this guy called Nomad Push. And he's this guy that's traveling all on a moped all throughout Japan. And the guy's like 38, and so he has a bunch of friends in Japan that he goes and stays around their house. So we go like, oh yeah, this is my friend in Kyoto, and so I'm gonna stay around his house. I'm 6 months behind now on his vlogs, but I watch every single one since he started the journey. And he's like sleeping in a train station, he has a tent, and he's learning different tech, and he's meeting these just really interesting people because it's a very continuous journey that he's going towards. And so he's not doing the, oh yeah, I'm gonna engage in tourist Japanese culture. No, he's just living. He's a homeless guy, by the way. He used to have a wife, and he just imagine like corporate Japan, just like corporate sort of work culture on crack. He just felt, nah, I'm turning homeless. It's so funny. That's the conclusion you come to, and and he had like his story is actually really interesting. He had a bunch of failed channels too. And then there was this one girl called Oriental Pole that does I'm this white girl that doesn't know how to speak any of these languages, and then she just turns around and does a Shalmar on the
Yeah,
people.
it's surprising the locals with how well I know how to speak the
language, yeah. And so he got a he sort of got a shout out from her, and she sort of made I don't actually know how it went down, but I'm pretty sure she did some sort of investment in his YouTube, and his YouTube popped up ever since.
That's fucking sick, actually.
And his story is really interesting. The way he interacts with Javan is really interesting, because you can tell, and this is why I like older characters in fiction, because they have this storied past that they have to confront, and that's always really fun, where you have to confront your past, and you have all these sort of past images of yourself that have been left behind, and they're all catching up with you, and you have to all confront them. That's super awesome, and that's sort of his journey, where he go on.
Journey. He's like real, like actual journey, like not just like a story that's like good, but like that's his actual journey. Is confronting like images of his past and like.
Well, it's not that epic and that dramatic, but he is interacting with people that he knew previously in his life and staying around the house, and they're sort of all past versions of what he was into or where he was in that point of his life, and I think that's really interesting. To see his journey, and so I thought his particular vlogs were really interesting, and so I was comparing it to these, sort of just happened to be
very basic.
Yeah, it happened to be very new to very basic sort of. Just like, oh, this is my hotel room. Okay, now we're gonna do kimono stuff, and
look at how pretty the windows are, and this is the bathroom, and then the
and I'm thinking. I don't want to be that guy that goes to Japan. I mean, I'm already not going to be that guy, just because I'm, savantly studying the Japanese language, and so I'm going to have, that. What'd you say?
Yeah, I'm just savantly studying as well. Just I'm savantly, savant being a verb. I'm just savantly doing things.
Savantly, yeah. Just adverb, but yeah.
Yeah. That's very smart of you to notice that.
What would you say?
I said it's very savant of you to notice the adverb verb distinction.
That's the difference. It's really funny, right? Because I was just so bad at English in school. It was only when every time I saw the word verb and adjective, I didn't even want to interact with them. I don't care to even spend 5 minutes to learn the difference between all these words, because it isn't really all it takes. And so it's only when I started learning Japanese where I'm going, oh, this is just so obvious. It's something that I intuited really quickly, and it's like 23 years of life not knowing what a verb, adjective, noun. I remember having multiple conversations with Calvin going, I don't know what the difference between all these words are. I really don't. Which is really funny, because I'm super hyper specific, super hyper focused on, English, what do you call it? English syntax, and maybe not syntax, but what do you call it? I'm very obsessed with, using, particular words and, semicolons too. Me and Calvin had that arc of, we actually want to learn how to use the semicolon thing, because we just didn't learn in school. And so, we...
classes.
What'd you say?
Like, how do you use a semicolon? Like, what's the...
For me, it's just...
Like...
When I see two clauses, I think it's just the way I type specifically, where I want to add extra information, but there isn't any sort of conjunction I can use, so I can't go and, or maybe I can, but I just put a semicolon there, because it runs more. When you speak, you don't speak in the most perfect grammatical sentences, maybe, and so. Usually in dialogue in the book, they'll put dashes there, because it doesn't make any. You can't write it as a sentence and make it grammatical sense, so you have to add these weird symbols, and semicolon is really just an extension of the dash, where I just use it to add extra information. Or you can use it in list. If you want to use commas in list, you use semicolons to separate the list.
That's what I do too. Yeah, and I do a semicolon at the bottom to end the Like I don't know if
Right.
that's improper, but I do like it's like this like set of things, and then I do like this, and I use like a dash this to like make the list, and then I do like the bottom semicolon to like indicate the end of the.
Okay, that's interesting. I don't know. I've
I just say
always
that because it's like I just think of it as like open bracket, close bracket, and like coding when you start like when you're doing coding
Yes.
in Python and stuff, and you do,
Mhm.
so like that's like but I'm not sure. I don't think that's right. That's just like like my internal way I organize it.
Okay, that's really interesting.
Yeah,
Like for me, it's that. So sentence. Yeah, each obviously there are let's say there are commas inside the list, and then each bit of the list is separated by a semicolon. So it's I think the way, because I was reading about it, was the way that they rationalize it is that the commas that usually separate the list, they're upgraded to semicolons to differentiate between the commas in the each part of the list. So they're not separating the list; they're just part of the list. The item, each single item, and so it's meant to differentiate between the commas and the actual the breaking commas. So the breaking commas are turned into semicolons. Yeah, there we go. I explained that better the last time.
There
Yeah,
you
the
go.
breaking commas are the semicolons, and the other commas are just the commas you want to have in each item of the list. There you go. That's good.
That makes sense. So it's like when you're adding extra information or you're making lists, that's like when you're using the semicolon.
Yeah. And that's how I see it used in terms of, maybe I don't see the list one with semicolons. I don't really see lists to get that verbose, but I need semicolons.
Yeah. Really?
But I definitely see the extra information where I think you sent me an extract of something. I think it was a while ago now, but they use the semicolons in the exact same way I use it, and EXE uses it too. EXE sort of hive-minded into using semicolons because I use them, and he types really similarly to me, which is really funny.
I like that. Well, it shows he likes the way you type.
Yeah, funny. Yeah.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
fun.
it's really funny because he wasn't what do you call it? He wasn't particularly good at school, but it's funny that he got that drive to because I was explaining this concept to my mom where I was talking about there are when I read in my life, it was because that was where the social reward was, where my friend read too, and his English was better than mine. He was a year before me, and so I got really, I've worse English than him, and he's reading and he's getting complimented for it, and so there's that prestige element in that social group of,
Sure.
yeah, I chase the, I'm not immune to, obviously, but I'm not immune to the what you call it, the social pressures or rewards that exist inside friend groups or just even one-on-one. And so I definitely see, especially with you, because you are a lot more studious. And I just wasn't studious at all outside of video games. I was super studious.
Sure, yeah.
I make sure I know every single bit of esoteric information, but I was just never like that in school and academic subjects. And and so I stayed away from that. But talking to people like you, two demons,
Yeah.
that they're being sort of just emulating that behavior where, oh yeah, I am getting obsidian. I am getting the I'm getting all these sort of applications that help me be more studious. Oh, I should be taking notes on particular things. I should be looking more into things, and also but outside of video games too, because in video games there is sort of a there is no obsidian for video games, but in video games there is community not dashboards, pages of information that are stored on there, and if you want to type your musings, you'd go into a in Minecraft each sort of server had their own sort of what do you call it, forums, and so people would communicate and type their musings on there before Discord became a thing. But I got more interested in academic subjects in terms of, oh yeah, I want to improve my English because my English sucks. And that's the first time I had the ability to remember, what a verb, an adjective was.
Yeah. Oh, I see. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. But it was
you're
only when the academic subjects took the gaming part of my mind, where they occupied the same space, then I was able to remember them very easily and quickly. It was a 5-minute affair. But before that, because Japanese is in my gaming part of my mind. Before that,
right. That's
I
funny.
could not remember anything. It was, oh, this is just, I'm just naturally bad at this, and I'm just always going to be bad at English. I sort of saw it as an inevitability. Absolutely
Yeah,
no, it's absolutely not. I
language
don't,
or yeah, but it's not at all. Yeah, exactly.
yeah, it was something that I actually probably have a particular affinity to now that I put it in my gaming part of my mind. So, yeah. I do appreciate the actually let me talk to you about this sort of hypothesis I had, which was basically and it was probably something very intuitive in terms of social groups have different what do you call it, rewards and pressures. And I was talking about it because of my sister,
Okay.
where I think her reading age is 2 years below where it should be.
Okay.
And
Right.
you know, is she in a part of a group that, you know, particularly values reading? Because that's the only way they could get me to read. And my mom, because I know how she raised me, so I know that she's sort of doing the same things with her, where it's, oh, you know, oh, let's add this financial incentive to reading books where she's, you know, making money. And
that's what my friends had happen with them too. Is like the dad paid them.
And it just instinctively, I just saw that as, well, this is just, I don't think, maybe it could work, but I don't think this is going to work in terms of you're not incentivizing a sort of understanding of what's happening in the book, or enjoyment in the engagement of reading books. You're incentivizing going through pages, sort of hitting a count, sort of how I see a lot of these you know, my anime list styled websites, where it's you completing a task and then you get to sort of, you know, tick it off or something. And so you're not ruminating on the content, because it's not, oh yeah, you need to write a review now, you need to, you know, talk about something that sort of indicates that you have a comprehension of what you read, but also an enjoyment of what you read. No, it's just you get to the end, you take it off, and now you get the money. And that's how the kid is going to be engaging with it, in terms of, at least intuitively, I think about it like that, in terms of, you got money for this. You know, I read this.
Yeah.
I read this amount of pages, or this number of pages, and then I get this money. You're not thinking about it, wow, that was I really liked what was happening in the last chapter, and I'm interested to see what the conclusion of, you know, that reveal is going to be, so let me go and, you know, further read. It's a completely different engagement, and one shows, you know, a genuine passion and enjoyment that is going to, you know, push you past push you into just reading with zeal rather than a reluctance and barely reading at all, because she reads herself 4 pages a day, and I'm thinking, what the fuck is dystopian? How are you only reading 4 pages a day? And I'm going,
what does that even mean?
Yeah, it doesn't mean anything, because you're not getting a end-to-end like a chapter is sort of a,
That's something.
no,
That's a block of a thing. Like, no, I'm saying, because 4 pages is like you're not even reading at that point. You're literally doing a task, as you're saying. Like, you're not even reading, you're literally doing a task for money that happens to be reading.
What I'm saying is, what is the comprehension of the work if you're not reading sort of the log? And I'm not saying staying inside the intentions, but a chapter is sort of written to be, you know, a sort of start of something and an end to something, in terms of, you know, something, you know, gets it's a section of the story that you can now ruminate on, because you have enough of the information and context to sort of think about it. But imagine if I just sent you half a sentence and go, oh yeah, okay, now I'm gonna read the next half of the sentence.
Blew my mind, bro. You fucking blew my mind. Half a sentence. Like, what? Like, what are you talking
exactly
about? Like,
you can't ever get into the work. And so I immediately it was something that she wanted me to go on the trampoline, so I'm going, okay, every minute is going to every page you read is going to be a minute. And then I look at the pages, she's reading directly in beginners, fat pictures on every chapter, sorry, page.
Like every chapter. Let's fucking get the chapters then. Yeah, right, because that would be kid. Like, that's even crazier to me.
And it was 4 lines on one page, the one that she was going to read next. I'm going, oh, okay, never mind. That's maybe a quarter of the page. You know, I'm fully, you know, like doing it line by line. But then I went, no, yeah, you can actually. That's when I thought of the chapter thing. I'm going, wait, you're not even getting the full sort of story of what's happening in this section of the plot, and so you need to. You can only not excavate, but you can only take out the minutes once you reach the end of the chapter. If you don't reach the end of the chapter, then all your minutes are moot. And so
I agree with that.
my mom said, "Oh no, she's reading," and so she sort of shut down that idea. And I'm going, don't
Oh my
you want her to read more? Like, why are you even enabling this? Should be at least build up the number of pages she's reading, because I know she struggles with reading. There is a high chance she has dyslexia. So
Oh, interesting. Okay.
so I can understand that, but that was sort of the early stages of her trying to get to read. It was really tough to get her to read. And now she can read. You know, she was reading fine. Isn't she was ostensibly, I have to say, because I've only seen her read once, and so she's going through the pages, and I'm going, okay, well, she's reading the book. However, that's not, again, yeah, that's not sorry, so she is competent enough to read the book, so we only sat there reading for 5 minutes. There is, you can't build anything off of 5 minutes reading. That was fucking sad. So
That's sad, dude.
yeah, so she's
That makes me
probably
really sad. Because I'm remembering how I would read, dude. Like the way that I was doing it was like I would be like reading till the end of the book for like I'm like, if there's a book, they're like, oh, let's see how long this lasts, because I'm just fucking sitting there for like an hour or whatever until the book's done, because I'm like, this was so good, I need to keep reading because I need to know how it ends. And like couldn't fucking, like, my problem is that I couldn't fucking sleep until I finished reading the book, kind of shit. Like I'm not.
Wow, that's a
I
good
don't
problem
know.
to have, yeah.
I don't know. It's like I don't know. Like I don't even know. I'm reconsidering if that wasn't even a problem. Like in retrospect, like Jesus Christ, like
100%, yeah.
so much work. I didn't even.
But I just hate over judging people because I probably had many problems when I was a kid, but also, yeah, maybe those problems should have been resolved. Yeah, maybe somebody should have gone, yeah, this is a really bad way of engaging with particular things, and it would have been better because my mom is not strict at all. She goes, oh yeah, I don't believe in watching shorts. Why the fuck am I watching my sister watch shorts type content on the sort of big screen on the TV because the phone was connected to the TV? I'm going, you're not enforcing this at all. And then she does this thing where she goes, oh, it's just really weird that when Joe walks in, you're just happening to watch shorts, and she's saying that sort of out loud, so I catch it, so I hear it, so I know it's a coincidence. I'm going, she shouldn't be watching shorts in the first place. From what you said to me, that you don't want her to be watching shorts is insane. Well, how is this not getting enforced at all when it's on the big screen? And I told her this because I know how she raised me, where she basically nothing was enforced, and so I know that. I told her that this exactly. I'm going, what I'm just going to see her again watching shorts because you're never going to enforce this because you don't have the discipline. And yeah, she doesn't have the discipline to enforce any of this, which super sucks.
Hey, let me get some water real quick. Just 1 second.
Yeah, okay.
Otherwise,
I'm gonna get some water too, actually.
I'm back. Hello.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
Just got some peanut butter tofu, but yeah, I was saying the for TLDR, lack of continuity with the way she's engaging with stuff, and the lack of sort of discipline to push her. It's just getting her to the point that she's not reading, and I wonder if that's It's just, oh yeah, no, anyway, go on.
Sure, please. I didn't mean to.
Okay, so I was talking about my hypothesis. About okay, clearly you're unable to get her to read, and I'm never
Right.
going to be able to talk you into having stricter protocols. So I was saying, you know, what friend groups does she engage in, and what do they engage in? And she was telling me that there was this thing called 11 plus, which is basically something for try hard kids. And I don't mean the Twitch emails. Where kids that are smarter, they can do this 11 plus
accelerated
things. Yes. And
Gifted.
she has a bunch of friends that are doing that, or she's in a friend group, and so I'm going, okay, that's really interesting. How are you in that friend group, but then also not trying to attain it? And I think she did try, but then she, you know, obviously wasn't good enough. And then you know, she didn't try again or whatever. It was sort of from what it seemed to me is that it was something that demotivated her. To go, hold on, this is not right. You know, I need to go back. I need to go back to the drawing board or whatever. It sort of, you know, got denied, and then that's it. But I was really curious, how far into this friend group is she? But is it these friends? Right. It was really funny because I see sort of the cogs in my mom's brain sort of moving. I'm going, wow, you don't know as much as you think you do. It was really funny because that's sort of my conflict between me and her, where she doesn't.
What's the big picture? 100% is like she has such certainty and like no humility about it. That's crazy.
So yeah, she I see the cogs in her brain working, and then she is considering, you know, yeah, she does have other friend groups, and yeah, that because I see her other friend in way more than this than the sort of the bookish types. Apparently she over the weekend my sister lent her the friend that was doing 11 plus, she lent her 2 Diary of the Wimpy Kid books, and she came back with both of them read. I don't know how that wasn't a whoa.
Wait a minute.
Yeah, wait a minute. Why the fuck is she able to read that quickly?
Yeah, yeah.
And so I'm thinking she probably isn't that far deep into that friend group in comparison to, you know, her other friends, because apparently her best friend isn't a part of that group, and we're going, oh, okay, that makes way more sense, you know.
Right.
Because I would have expected some sort of social pressure or some social reinforcement, positive reinforcement to take her into a more bookish direction. Because this is what happened with me. I feel like a lot of kids react to, you know, what's prioritized in the particular friend group that they're in. And so yeah, I was running past the idea of if you probably need to have some sort of well, the only way she's going to read, because you're unable to get her to read more, is probably some sort of social reinforcement by her peers. And also that was sort of not that was not like actionable advice. It was more of musings of, this is the only way I see my sister getting to read, which is social by social pressure. Because my mom can't enforce that, and she doesn't have, you know, as strong of a will to enforce that type of behavior in her kid, because she has to. My sister will hit my mom. So, you know,
really,
yeah, it's super poorly disciplined kid.
Like, how is that being dealt with? Because that seems like, wait a minute, like that, you know, I'm hearing, like, you know, you're like, wait, how did that not put up red flag? I'm hearing red flag just there. How is she able to do that?
That
like,
was, that to me, that was insane that she's hitting my mom when she's upset. I don't see, and so I'm always observing. I don't want to be the person that goes,
like
"Wow,
that.
you're parenting your kid wrong," because I know that's a sore spot for parents too. Where
Of course.
it's like, no, I'm not. This is my kid, and I love my kid. But just because you love your kid doesn't mean you're going to be parenting them right. It's a really weird conclusion to come to, but I understand that's a sore spot, so I don't want to be the critique that's going, yes, I'm right, because I know if I'm like
Right.
that, that's not my critiques are never going, or my
Not gonna land,
musings
right?
are never going to
Yeah.
land, so I have to be that cautious. I don't know. I don't know how this is going, and should that be happening? Sort of coming as this cautious observer. I don't know, cautious. To me, that's outrageous. To me, I wanted to smack that kid right down to the floor. The fuck are him, my mom?
Yeah.
That's my mom. The fuck are you doing?
Yeah,
Hitting my
what's
mom
up,
like
what?
that? That's fucking disgusting. But probably I see her coddled a lot. Now maybe that's
Okay.
because I'm the guy that grew up with my mom that was poor.
Sure. Right. Yeah.
And
Yeah. So you're seeing that, and you're like really noticing.
yeah, to me that's a particularly acute way. Oh, you have a toy room. To me, it's like, what, a toy room?
A toy room.
Yeah,
Dude, I want the toy room. Where the fuck is my toy?
2 years of my life I was in the same room. I was sleeping on a bunk bed with my mom. That's the level of fucking deprived we were operating.
They call that the poor room. No.
The poor room, yeah.
She had the
Right.
toy room. You were in the fucking poor room with your mom with the bunk bed.
Exactly,
Like,
yeah, that's what we called it
yeah.
back in the day, right? So a toy room, to me that was insane. And her, and she's scrolling on the phone just looking at other things that she's going to buy, and I'm going, okay, I did that as a kid, where I was
Yeah.
looking on eBay to buy the next Pokemon games. And I was looking at the bids, like, okay, we need to bid, it was because it was 6 months it would come 6 months after in the UK. So I'm looking at the Japanese Pokemon Black and White games, and I'm going, okay, we need to bid on this, we need to bid on this, we need to win the bid. So I'm looking at the bid time, how long is left to see. So for me, it's more of I'm really into Pokemon, and this is not a frivolous, this is just the next toys I'm looking to buy. It's very much a very calculated, this is really what I want to buy. This is
Right.
This is something that if I want to get it, I have to manage, because it was eBay. You had to bid on things, and so and that was the cheapest. It was the cheapest way to, because if you did buy it now, it was way more expensive, and so we're doing fucking calculated bids. We'll go, okay, it takes like a little bit of time for the bid to go through, so I'm finding out the best times to bid. And I remember I finally won one of the Pokemon games, Pokemon Black or White, or I don't remember which one it was, but it never came. I can't believe that.
Oh no.
I wouldn't have ever been able to play it anyway, because I didn't realize at the time that the cards were region logged.
Oh, that's even worse.
Yeah, that's horrible to find out. As an adult, that even if I got the game, I would have never been able to play it. Super awful. But one of my best friend at the time, when Black and White 2 was coming out, he had it emulated with an English patch. So I was going, would you say?
I remember you mentioned this because like the translations were kind of off. Like it wasn't like it was kind of a weird, like you had to like kind of try to make sense of what was even being said. Like
no, what was fucked up about it was that I was super into the nicknaming Pokemon, but you could only do 4 letters of the nickname. I'm going, what the fuck? I don't want to play this. I'm waiting for the real thing to come out, because that was such a important part of Pokemon for me, which is nicknaming the Pokemon to things that I really wanted to.
Right.
And so I was going, this is definitely not something I want to play. But I thought it was really cool that he emulated it. He sort of bypassed my strat, where I was like, I was trying to import the game from Japan. Nah, he had it, what'd you call it? He skipped that step of even buying the game. Nah, I have it for free on an emulator, and I'm playing on an English patch, and I can actually play the game because it's not region locked on an emulator. Awesome. That was sick by him. He taught me a lot of things.
That is really...
Yeah, he taught me about Twitch, about anime, about Pokemon. He taught me all my hobbies, or all my foundational hobbies. They sort of come from him, which is funny. And I got him to zombies, so But then he ended up getting into trick shotting, unfortunately. But anyway, sort of the way I engaged in eBay in terms of I was constantly checking, but it wasn't the here's the next toy I want to get and you have a fucking toy room. To me, I'm going, whoa, that's to me, and I don't know if that's an intuitive thing where I'm going, okay, I didn't have this,
I mean,
so
I'm
I'm
happy
going,
for her that she has that, right? Like, aren't you? You're happy for her that she has
fuck
like more
no.
stability and like, right? I mean, obviously, like that's like
Oh, the
obviously, but it's like,
stability, yeah,
yeah,
but not
insane, right?
the. You have you have a whole room filled with toys, and then you're now looking to the next toy, and there's not and the connection being made of. Isn't this just a novelty thing where? I was telling this to EXE actually, because he was feeling really down about where he is in Osu. I'm going, okay, so you I was sort of getting him to elucidate how he felt when he was not as good. Would he feel good about the position he's in? And he'd go, oh yeah, I would. But before I got him to tell me that, I was saying, okay, if you were top 4K in the world, would you feel really good about that? He was saying, oh yeah, I feel really good about that. So I was saying, oh, how, the thing that I said before in terms of how did your past feel? How would your past self feel about And yeah, he said also really good. And I'm going, okay, I'm obviously making the connection of the novelty of sort of being at a new point or a new stage in your skill is something that feels really powerful and rewarding. But the sort of novelty runs out off you like them at least a lot of it is the novelty, and then you sort of go back down to your normal, and even it causes you massive distress to the point where you no longer
100%.
like the game anymore because you're no longer progressing. I'm going, that's a really big problem. And it's funny because actually I don't expect to talk people out of things because a lot of feelings are very intuitive.
Yeah.
But he said,
Just because they
what'd you say?
just because they know something doesn't mean it resonates or doesn't mean it fully hits them or like fully like you know what I mean. It doesn't fully like embody that. Like you can have an emotion, but like but like nobody said what in response. You were surprised that he.
So he messaged me the next day. I basically told him, my sort of philosophy, and he said, "Oh, I just had the most enjoyable Osu session I've had in a really long time. I really was not expecting." I was saying, by the way, this is probably something that you need to walk upon in terms of the way your internal state handles information, because we all receive the same information, but the way we deal with it are radically different. I get very uncomfortable with being at particular places, but especially in Japanese, I'm having an ego death every fucking month about the stage where I am. But I always wake up and I'm very unrelenting. There is no one day off I'm taking. It's every single day, and it doesn't feel negative the next day. It's okay, this is what I need to work on, and so this is what I'm working on. It's very much it feels more rewarding actually now that I understand what I need to do. And so I'm improving the aspect of what I'm struggling on. Is I know I have direction, a particular direction I need to go in, and it actually feels rewarding for me. But for him, it's very much different, where he gets where he feels that negative burst, and then it just continues. It doesn't stop. It's unrelenting, and fuck, I don't know why I went into the conversation with VXC, because I was trying to. It was about the toys, and it's the novelty factor, where the novelty factor of getting new toys, I think, is I'm already seeing hyper consumer behavior of you're consuming, and that's not a particularly good thing, where your novelty is being weaponized. Your need for novelty is being weaponized by markets that are trying to get you to buy the new latest toy that you don't understand, because as a kid you don't have that longevity to a week is a fucking year for you as a kid, in terms of computer being taken away. Oh fuck, you think that's the end of the world. But it really isn't. It's a fucking week. But you don't. It's really hard for you to sort of think about time in a way an adult does as a kid, and so it's probably lost on her that, oh, by the way, once the novelty runs out, this toy is just going to stay permanently in your toy room in one of the little boxes that you have. And it sucks that my mom never points that out. I have no idea why
Well,
there isn't this
well,
conscious
here's what's
understanding.
crazy to me too is that okay, so if you take a step back and think about the book rewards program, right? Where she's given money in exchange for reading a certain number of pages or a certain amount of a book, right? If you take a step back, you think about it, it's like, okay, well, what's the argument for why this program works? This program works because people will read the book and then realize that actually reading is fun, and so eventually they'll stop being need to be paid because they'll just be read. But the whole thing is, the mom isn't even reading books. She's not spending her time. She's thinking that I'll pay someone in to start liking reading books, but then I'm not going to model the behavior of reading and liking books myself. So it's over. Like, it doesn't happen. Like, it's not going to happen because
she does actually read though.
Oh,
That's
she
the
does.
thing.
Okay, well then
She's
well,
not.
then what's going on with that? What's going
She's
on with
not
that
a
then?
particular voracious reader though. She does read though. I always see a book on
Well,
her
then
that
that's
she's
great.
reading and working
She
through.
should totally perceive that just paying someone is not enough to get them to do it, and that, yeah, like, oh wow, she's all of a sudden able to read really fast when her friends or her friends are able to read faster, and like it's a social thing. Needs to be emphasized. It's a social thing. It's a, like, for me it was like, oh well, okay, I had like a point during the day where I watched TV or something, and like that was my hour, and then after that I had to find other things to do that weren't TV. So it's like, you know what I mean? Like, probably at this point too late for the iPad on that, but it's like there should be a point where it's like, all right, we're doing iPadless something, and then in that period of time, it's like, well, the Diary of a Wimpy Kid sounds pretty good then. It sounds like I'll read that, if that's the other thing.
Yeah.
I don't
If
know,
that's
like
the only
there
thing that
needs
you
to
have, then yeah.
yeah, but it's like if you have the iPad all the time, like the Diary of a Wimpy Kid looks probably pretty bad. It looks like boring and like static, and like it doesn't have all these cool like chemicals you feel when you fucking look at it, like you do when you look at the screen. Like, it's not as shiny and stuff. And so I don't know. I bet there's like it's tougher as a kid too to like have that like pull, the magnetic pull of the like of the tablet versus like everything else. Like, I bet it's tough to be interested in a lot of things outside the tablet.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. Yeah.
That's crazy to me, because if she's modeling the behavior of reading, and then she's not understanding that, like, well, it matters whether you read the full chapter or not. Like, that she's like, no, but she's reading, it's fine. It's like, well, it's a big difference to read versus read a like word versus like understand a story. That's a different
Yeah,
thing.
it's
Like,
completely
reading a
different. Yeah.
word,
No,
completely
she's
different. Like,
written a book
so
before too. So the
that's
fact
even
that
wilder. She doesn't
yeah,
what?
yeah, this is insane.
Wait,
Yeah.
without getting too personal, what was the book about? Do you know, like, what the?
I don't know. I never read it. It was like a kids fantasy novel. Actually, kind of
Cool
rude of
though.
me. Kind of rude of me not to read it, but it is
Oh my
usually
god, that's
if she sold it to me, then I totally would. But she wasn't too, probably because she has this intuitive feeling that I wouldn't read, yeah, instinctive feeling that I wouldn't read the book, which is I totally would if she sold it to me, because that's just how I work. She fundamentally doesn't understand how I
who
function.
you are. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And so she doesn't understand that for
Okay.
me, it's somebody passionately talking about something is very much something that that I find alluring. And so she could have just said, oh yeah, this is what the book is about, and this is why I think is might pique your interest. Okay, I'll totally read it, instead of you just handing me the book expecting me that I'm gonna read it because. So what? Why would I read it just because you're my mom? To me, that I don't have that close of a connection to my mom for me to
Right.
to engage like that. But yeah, I think it's
But that is
insane.
so you're blowing my fucking mind saying that she's writing children's books, and that she's like letting the daughter get away with the fucking like, oh my god, like I can't even comprehend what you're saying right now. Like, this is so fucking crazy to me that she is simultaneously writing children's books and then doing the fucking 4 pages a day with the daughter of the Diary of a Wimpy Kid. Like, I'm losing my mind right now. Like, this is insane. Like, that's
I can understand it from your perspective. For mine, I think it fundamentally comes down with the hassle of dealing with the negative, the negativity of all the negative aspects of a kid where they're raging, they're throwing. She can't deal with it. 100%
Oh
can't
yeah,
deal
yeah.
with it. Shit.
He's
And my sister
disconnected.
will be
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
It's really weird because when my sister will get angry, she'll sort of go, "Oh, are you okay?" You know, by the end of it, I'm going, "What the fuck? Are you going like, are you okay?" I understand of, like lowering the tension or something, but not keeping that level of, it sort of seems like when you're going to the kid, to me at least, it comes off as when you're going, "Oh, are you okay?" It sort of seems as though, and you're trying to soften it because you don't want your kid to feel bad, obviously, but you're sort of softening it sort of feels, to me, it feels like, oh, you're coddling me because it's kind of your fault. You feel wrong, and so you're coming to me. I wonder if the kid interprets it like that, but I could totally see that interpretation happening where, your mom's going to you and go, "Oh, are you okay?" After you just had a spat with your parent. That's what people do when they've done something wrong. They'll come to you with a soft voice and go, "I'm sorry for doing this, blah, 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 blah." And she's not saying
Yeah, it
sorry,
comes
but
off as weakness. It comes off as weakness to the kid, I
100%.
think.
Yes.
Like, and kids can smell that. Kids are
And
vicious, I think, especially in the middle school area where your sister's getting into. Like, they get vicious.
oh, we don't have middle school over here. It's just primary and then secondary, which would be so it goes from, I don't know, five
Like age
to
11, 12, 13 is like what I'm talking about. I'm saying like
okay.
that's when kids start getting
Hmm.
like they get like they start, how can I get at like do something against my parents? Like I want this, like they're my way.
That's very interesting that you have a category for those age groups, because for us that's secondary school in terms of from 11
Yeah.
to 16. That's all secondary school, and so um for us it's the 11-year-old. We have like the hard man year 7, bad man year 7, where just because they're in
Bad
secondary
man
school
year
now.
7.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
I think
Bad
they're
man year 7. That's
super.
exactly it. Yeah, they're all grown up. They're fucking exactly. That's
Hmm.
exactly what I'm talking about. The bad man year 7, exactly.
Hmm. And
Yeah.
yeah, she's still 2 years off of that. She's 9,
Okay,
about
good.
to turn 10. But
Yeah.
yeah, she I think she's probably fairly undisciplined. That's probably why I'm probably the way I am, which is yeah, I'm very different from my mom. I don't exhibit any of her traits at all, and that's because I've
Yeah.
been left to my own devices, and I've found solace in my own devices because I just didn't have any of that discipline. So I was just like, oh yeah, playing video games all day. You're never gonna take this away from me, and that's all I wanted to
Yeah.
do.
Yeah.
And obviously, I recognize that. Oh yeah, that was super bad to have unregulated access, but also I do kind of uh, look fondly on the fact that, wow, I got to develop outside of what my mom cared about, and
Yeah.
what
That's huge. That's huge.
because I don't want to shit on my mom. I don't like shit on my mom because she's fairly nice as a person in terms of she'll be fairly an amicable person. Now I sort of see this as for me that's a problem because I don't see that as a fundamental goodness. I see that as a conflict avoidant strategy rather than I call it pleasantry, where when someone's being pleasant, I go, that's not because you're a fundamentally, a morally upstanding person. It's because you don't want conflict, and so you're acting in a social setting in a way where
Yeah.
you're sort of, and this is why I see it as super negative, is because you're upholding all the social structures to avoid conflict. And obviously, I don't agree with upholding social structures, and so the I told you about the alcohol thing where two German aunt and uncle of my stepdad, they didn't want alcohol, but she wasn't able to recognize the fact that they don't want. My auntie was recommending the Germans what you call it, the alcohol, and they said nah, I don't want any. But the auntie kept forcing them to drink alcohol. It's like, oh come on,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. At the
the
party, they're
thing.
like, "Oh, just have another." Like, it's not a big. Yeah, yeah. They were
Yeah,
like
it's not a
really
big
like
deal.
fucking pushing it, and you're like, damn, like people are kind of acting like, alcoholics, and and you were like confused. You were talking about how your mom is like so judgmental of some of her friends' use of like marijuana and other sort of thing,
Yes.
whereas like they're just pushing the fucking alcohol with no concern or like consideration of
Yeah.
the other person's interests, and that's just
Hmm.
accepted as like normal and like, yeah, no problem, it's not a problem. Even though when you actually think about it and look at it, like
Hmm.
well, I think it's like playing possum. I think the kind of pleasantry stuff, it's like you're playing possum in a conversation to avoid like the kind of critical attention that comes when you have to actually stand by something or claim something or say something. Like being
Hmm.
pleasant and non-confrontational, I think it's about avoiding the type of attention that you feel might expose you. to
Mhm.
potential negativity. But I also think it's a kind of thing you do when you're just going to interact with so many people all like on a daily basis that you just like
Mm.
can't really, do you know what I mean? You can't risk like actual, because if like if every conversation could turn into conflict, then you just wouldn't have conversation, because it's just you have so many conversations in a day. So you have to be like, you know,
Mhm.
you have to kind of like limit
Mhm.
the amount of like risk that each conversation could bring. I think.
Mhm. I'm just so scorched earth. So I've always just been conflict machine. Probably to detriment, probably over conflict. Where um, years before I would just be starting conflict for the sake of starting conflict. That's the because I like the critical engagement of okay, there's a disagreement that we have to sort of I have to sort of prevail in proving my point over your point to me. I just really like that dynamic of I like that critical engagement. It's a dance. It's a fight. Well, I mean, it was not really a dance. It was a more of like a mosh pit of like me like jumping on somebody like smashing them. Um, that's really what it was not really a dance at all, but I like the and that's why I move away from that because I realize that I can just have a critical engagement with particular things without making it an argument. It doesn't need to necessarily be an argument, or it's an
Exactly. Yeah.
argument. It's an argument in the sense that we're not screaming at each other, but we are having a fundamental disagreement. To me, that's whoa. That's super. That's a really nice way to engage with a conversation. But my mom can't handle even that. To a disagreement about something is because obviously I'll just I'll critique an aspect of her or something relating to her, and she gets immediately very defensive about that. It's not something to explore. Oh, she did this thing today. She did this today, and I'm usually very much of a cunt with my mom in terms of because we have such a long our relationship is built on so much stuff that I am very much just very blunt. I'm very terse with her. I'm not very much dressing things up with her because these are conversations I've had a million times, and I'm not introducing this to you as if it's a new thing. Um, I very much just bluntly critique that for the thousandth time. I'll critique it because I want her to engage with, a particular thing that I'm talking about, and she'll get very defensive really quickly and go, "What am I learning from this?" And I hate that because it's a very much, yeah, I already know what's happening. It's you trying to very carefully you're trying to be very literal with as if you know what you're learning from a particular thing.
Ahead of time.
Yeah, exactly. It's fucking stupid. Usually you don't. So, I don't. You don't go to school knowing. Oh, I'm gonna learn something by the end of this. You're a fucking kid. You have no concept of what's gonna happen. You probably don't even want to go to school. And so yeah, I always thought that was really a thought terminating for. So I just went, you know what? Let's not
Yeah.
have this conversation. This is
It's so
bullshit.
thought terminating, dude. Because like from what, but that's what I'm saying about avoiding the risk. Because it's like, well, what am I learning? What am I thinking? What am I debating? It's like, well, you're trying to delimit the conversational space so you can like gain safety again. To me, it's all about fear. It sounds like your mom's. I mean, at least from what I'm hearing, it sounds like a lot
Mhm.
of it's about fear in terms of like the fear of like some sort of like something happening that is not like clear and controllable and like obvious and literal. And I think that fear of like what could come from something if it's not heavily delimited, I think that is kind of, I think that is, there's a weakness in that. I think being scared in that way is weakness because it's like to me it's like, well, what am I learning? I will ask that question, but only if like I'm asking like, well, okay, this isn't really getting at what we were trying to get at originally, right? Like this isn't,
Mhm.
like what's even happening here where there's like productive, like I will ask that, but like that's to kind of critique myself. Like it's not to be like, so it's not something I'll ask another person. It's more like I'll ask myself that question to gain a
Mhm.
sense of like what I should be focusing on. But like asking someone else that, I think it's meant to basically get them to hurry up and like get them to go faster at a pace that like I like more. And I don't like that at all. I want people to kind of go through a full thought process before I can, because otherwise it just feels like lame and empty.
Mhm.
So I like when people go in directions unexpected, and like I don't need to be given the table of contents to the idea before it's said. Like I can, I can follow
Well,
along as people are
what's
saying
the
things,
reason
you know.
why people would want the table of contents? Is because it's
Because then they can know what to pay attention to and what's important because they can't contain the context window. And like they're
Mhm.
like my like I mentioned this with like attention and stuff, like, like with my sister talking about the attention and people like struggling to give attention for sustained periods of time. I think that's
Mhm.
also coming into play here, where it's like she's trying to like get a sense of like what are the signposts, like what are the important signposts of what you're going to say, and then
Mhm.
that way she can like strategically pay more and less attention based on what's being said,
Interesting.
I think.
For me, it was she wants to know. She sort of
Like
playing
executive summary.
she wants to know what I'm telling her because she already doesn't buy what I'm saying, and so oh no, she doesn't like the direction I'm going in. She's going, oh, what am I learning here? She's sort of trying to interrupt the conversation to go,
Yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
what am I learning here? To sort of tell me, I don't think this is useful. I don't think this is useful to know because something that I'm saying is causing some sort of psychic damage that she needs to move the conversation into sort of move the burden onto me to go, well, why should you be saying this anyway? And that's a conversation ground that's easier for her to
Yeah.
engage in because she ultimately has the final say. I get to say if this is useful for me to learn because I already know the knowledge I know already, and I already know how it's going to be applied, or at least that's sort of the, obviously you don't, but it's the
Right.
it's I can see why somebody would who says that would intuit that, and so it's moving away from the uncomfortable topic and moving on to and moving the burden onto somebody else to say, oh yeah, you're the one who has to substantiate why you even talking about this in the first place. So yeah, I don't I for me it's just a topic mover, moving away from the topic.
I think so too. Yeah, and when people talk about like what are you learning, like it depends on how it's being said, but I guess like part of it is like, well, what's the takeaway? Like what's the like how I think of it usually said is like what's the, big picture summary? What's the most like, but then another way they could be saying it, and how it sounds like what you're saying is like, yeah, like making the person almost ground the purpose of what's being said, when the purpose of what's being said is sometimes to think out loud in conversation with another person. Like you
Hmm.
put out something not just because you have a fully formed thought or what you have like a lesson you're trying to impart, but because you're like working through something yourself, right?
Oh
And
yeah,
like
that's true.
if you're
Yeah.
telling yeah, exactly. So I think if you're telling a person like, hey, you gotta fucking, speed up or like really ground what you're saying and know what you're saying, it's like you're preventing thought, because by locking down thought in that way, the other person no longer has the kind of range to explore their idea. They're really confined now,
Hmm.
in terms of how they think about it.
Hmm. um Actually interested though, in terms of like my um when you talk about your family dynamic in terms of you were saying that you have conversation or when you were growing up you I don't know, I
I still do really
presumably,
good
yeah,
conversations.
yeah, you probably still do. But in terms of formative years of your life, you had conversations where I think you were talking about in terms of the seating arrangement of when you went to eat for dinner. It wasn't looking at the TV. It was you facing each other and talking
Yeah, yeah.
about and talking to each other and sort of giving sort of having I forgot the specific things that you were saying, but the gist that I got from it was that you were having you gave room to your parents would give you room to sort of talk about something and give you attention when you're talking about something, as opposed to what you call it? Let's say talking about what's on the TV.
Right,
Um,
exactly.
I'm super
Reacting to what other
interested in
people.
that.
Yeah, no, I mean that's how I grew up. Is like my family gave me full attention. Like my family, when they would, when I would have something to say, they're giving me the full attention. They're asking me about the dinosaurs when I'm telling them about all the different dinosaurs I learned, and I'm like, and then there's the fucking Triceratops and fucking, like they're just love. They're like asking me follow up questions about it. Like it was awesome. It's like so supportive, and like and I kind of grew up in a way where like I'm with my I'm at my friend's house, and I'm asking the parents questions about like politics and stuff, and I'm asking them follow up questions, and like I would always get invited out to dinner with people because they liked that I was like engaged, and like, because the way that a lot of kids do like, go out to dinner is like they just kind of like watch the adults um like talk, or they go to their own table and kind of talk to each other. But like I was
Mhm.
like, the way that I grown up and like with my family is like the whole table is engaged at once. Like there
Oh,
isn't
that's
like,
so good.
obviously if it's a big table, obviously there'll be like side discussions that'll break out. There'll be like a group of three talking and a group of three talking if it's like a table of 12. But if it's a table of like six, there's like one conversation happening that you're kind of mostly discussing with. And I think that was awesome. That was really helpful for me, and I'm super grateful for that. Because I just felt like there was so much freedom, while also there being expectation to talk about things that mattered, and talk about things you cared about, and talk about things that were interesting. Because like and also like if you have like six other people listening to what you're saying, like you have to fucking you have to get to the point. You have to fucking say something. You can't just be vamping because people will cut you off, because other people have stuff to say too. So there was this like
Mhm.
efficiency too that was cultivated, I think. But yeah, I don't know. I think there's so many things that benefited. And I think that, yeah, the expectation that like there would be conversation, I think that's also huge. I think like um yeah.
Wait, hold on. I
I
need
think
to switch. I need to switch on my light. I think my contact is stuck in my eyelid. Hold
oh
on.
yeah,
Okay, I'm back. Carry on.
well, yeah, I just think that like that's a huge bet, is like the expectation that there would be conversation. I think I think that was huge for me too, because what's the point, like when you're going to the dinner, you're expecting that there will be this engagement. So it's like, I don't know, there's something about that expectation that was huge, I think. It's so tough to I'm like struggling trying to figure out how to explain this, but it's like there's a there's something like so powerful about feeling like there's going to be a good conversation and that you're excited for it and that you're anticipating. There's something special about the way that makes my brain go. And I'm happy when I get in that position.
Mhm.
And I found myself being able to be in that position a lot as a kid. And I'm really grateful. Where I was like excited to talk to people about stuff. And that like people would tell me like, you should talk to this person about this thing. And then I would, and it was awesome. And like, that was so like, I just had so much conversation and so much engagement as a kid. That was like huge, I think.
I think the follow-up questions to me seem as though those are one of the most important
For sure.
parts of a conversation, because it means that somebody sort of internalized what you've said and they've now thought on something specific to what was said to you. Because it feels awkward when you're talking to somebody and you're just rambling and then you're going, did they even consider what I said, or was I
Right.
just talking to the
Yeah.
wind? Um,
Right.
but the follow-up questions mean that, oh yeah, you're taking an understanding of what I told you, and then now you're sort of asking me questions because there is some sort of interest to engage with what I'm talking about or with me. And yeah, I think that's super. Sort of envy that
It's so
you had
rare.
that. Yeah.
I know. I didn't realize how rare that was. I thought that was really common. And so I'd get really disappointed when I'd have other experiences. Like I remember being so pissed because I was at my friend Parham's house, and when I was like 5 or something, or no, sorry, when I was like 9 or something, and we were just like sitting around watching The Big Bang Theory with his grandma, and then like we went off to bed, and I was like, that's like what dinner at his house is. I'm like, that fucking sucked. I was like,
Wow.
what, are we just like all watching The Big Bang Theory together? Like this was bad. This was a bad dinner. I didn't like this. So that was
Mhm.
huge for me. It's like if I had friends and families at like I would go over to houses, like I would recognize that whether or not the family was like engaged with the kid at dinner and stuff, like I would
Mhm.
want to hang out with that kid more, and then I'd want to hang out with that family more too because they were like a cool family. And so like that was always like integrated for me. It's like I would realize there was a connection between how cool a person was to talk to and how cool their family was to have dinner with, because that like made the kid cool to talk to because they had a lot of stuff to say and they were like thinking about shit. And like if the kids weren't talked to as a kid, like I could really tell, and it was like it fucking stood out to me in terms of their conversation ability, because their internal depth was just so limited, because they just spent so little time cultivating themselves that way. And again, that was like me as a kid. Like I realized people can cultivate themselves more in a larger sense, and like but especially as a kid, like there's kind of it's like you either were talked to or weren't, like as a kid, right? So
Mhm.
um,
I wonder how talkative kids are because my sister is just not talk at all. I tried to talk to her, tried to talk to her today just because I'm just interested in what a small person even does in their life.
yeah.
And what you're saying, gets me thinking is that just I don't like accepting people as people, that's just the way they are, and they're sort of an
Right.
algorithm. I mean, obviously a genetic factor is a big
Obviously,
factor, but there is I mean, you are a collection of experiences, and I'm just wondering if that was something about my mom, because I was very much the same as a kid in terms of past a certain point I just stopped talking to my mom about anything. I would not share any information. I already told you about that in terms of she severed this connection because I felt as though I couldn't be open about
Right.
or she wouldn't be open about particular things with me, and so there was this sort of danger. I had to protect the what do you call it, the things that I watched and I engaged in, the friends that I talked to, in case those were going to be taken away from them, because they are talking about
Right.
sexual matters and swearing too. That was a big thing that she had a distaste for. I remember I was showing her boyfriend at the time BL1. It was a BL1. It's like, what the fuck, what is this pack a punch thing? And it was an IGN video, so it was obviously no swearing. and
Right.
and she was and she didn't, she wasn't going, oh no, what's this, are there any, are there any things that I wouldn't want you to, have in this video? Can I take a look at it so I can, understand? No, it was just an immediate shutdown. And so I had to go, I have to hide this. This is something that I have to hide. I have to keep secret because there isn't going to be any sort of elaborate
Yeah.
engagement with what I care about. It's going to be an immediate dismissal. And
Fairness. Yeah.
And so I built a massive aversion. And because I just really haven't been paying attention to how my sister's been raised. So
Yeah.
I have no idea if.
You're also pretty young,
Would you say?
like all things considered. You're also pretty young. Like most guys our age are not usually thinking about the parenting dynamics of like how their little sister or something is being raised. Like that's like
Mm-hmm.
I would also say like not like a common, especially guys. Like I don't think guys usually pursue it. So just to say like in your fairness, you know what I mean? Like I would criticize that. I would say that there's no fair.
I'm 100% not.
Yeah.
I mean, I
just
wouldn't
wanna be
even.
clear.
I wouldn't even. I wouldn't appeal to what's normal.
Right.
I know what you're saying, right? But to me, I didn't even think about it on the level of, oh, should this be grating on my conscience, or I'm just sort of just describing descriptively
Sure.
rather than prescriptively, what's happened in my life. But I actually
But like talkativeness wise, like I just want to go back to the talkativeness thing with your sister, like how talkative she is. Like obviously I think people are definitely talkative and less talkative in different situations. Like what I if you look into this, the first layer you hit is because I've looked into the introvert extrovert thing a lot, because I've always been interested in the fact that like a lot of the people that I talk to and have really good relationships with, like Stealth, Stret, and Orbic, like they're fucking brilliant with a lot of interior depth, but they don't like share it unless prompted and unless talked with. And like I've always been curious about that because that's kind of different for me. Like I think I have interior depth, but for me, I'm just constantly throwing shit out there with people. I'm constantly, you know what I mean? And so like I'm always curious about like people who are more introverted yet seem to have this kind of, this depth and on like how that happened. And so I was looking into it and I realized I was like, fuck, like they just so what it actually turns out is that people are introverted and extroverted usually in different situations. Like in some situations you just are forced to be introverted, like a fucking classroom, you're just forced to be introverted. You can't fucking be an
I was gonna
extrovert in
say
the
that
classroom.
actually.
Like
Yeah.
tough. It's like tough to be one, right? But also think of like a social situation where you're at a dinner, like you might be at a dinner with someone who you don't particularly like, and like you might be more introverted and guarded and protect yourself, right? Like there's like a rationality there too. So I think like people in general are introverted and extroverted with different situations. I wonder how extroverted she is with her friends, because oftentimes,
100%.
kids at a younger, I bet she's way more extroverted with her friends, And one way that I know my friend, like Orbic, like the way he plays with his because he's a little sister that's, she's not like, because like my little sister's only 3 years younger than me. So it's like it's easy to connect with her, right? But like she's like more aware of stuff than I am a lot of times. But especially, but like with I think
Surprising.
Orbic's
Wow.
sister is like 12 or something, and he's like 23 or something, and so she is like the way he interacts with her is like he'll play video games with her a lot of times.
Mhm.
Like they'll play Roblox games together and stuff like that, and that's fun. And like I
Mhm.
think if you got her in a context where she's like fun, like in having fun, I bet she'll be much more extroverted. Is just what I would say. I would just assume the context of how you interact with her also
Oh
shapes how
no,
extroverted or
this is true. I've played a game with
yeah.
her once. It was Minecraft, and yeah, she was talking way more. I was the one that was just like barely talking. I was like smacking her around, but because I played Minecraft on that level where I can super fuck with her.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
so that's why I was just being super quiet, super sneaky. Um, but oh yeah, that would be an interesting time to sort of get her to talk about different topics in terms of how she
Yeah,
feels
open
about
up on
particular
stuff.
things. Yeah,
Yeah, 'cause
exactly.
she could like have her mind off of it with like playing video games and like just kind of, like yeah, like whatever game she's playing and stuff. And like that way it's less of a I don't know,
Mhm.
like I never went this mode with my sister, but there's like an older brother mode people can go into where they're like, I gotta
Mhm.
fucking like fix this with this and this, and like the younger sister, like they're not always gonna like that mode, and so I think being like, no, we're just being friends and we're just hanging out, like I think that is like really helpful for getting younger kids to open up because
Mhm.
otherwise they're like, oh, am I about to get like homework? Like they're like, I
Mhm.
don't want to get like so many of
Yeah.
their adults are just like there to give them like a chore or homework or a thing, and like they hate that, and so if you come to them with any of that energy, they pick up on it instantly. I feel like I feel like kids are so like
Mhm.
um, so
100%. Yeah. Yeah. Have I remember when I was a kid, I would always want a brother because
mhm,
I was an only child, and a lot of my
right.
friends had siblings too. And so, how was it like with your sister? In terms of you said you were the older brother by 3 years.
Yeah, older brother, yeah, by like 3 years, yeah. So, yeah, no, it's been awesome. She's been a great sister, and like I've had a really stable, really good family. Like she was always really interested in what I was doing. She always wanted to like be a part of what I was doing. Like the only problems I had with her was when I was younger, and I'm like, dude, she keeps fucking following me around and stuff. And like,
Oh
but that's
yeah.
just like that's just like the classic older brother, little sister thing, where she always wants to, the older sibling, younger sibling thing, where they always want to be involved in whatever you're doing, and you're like, oh my god, they're so fucking lame, get away, like that kind of shit. But I
Hmm.
grew out of that pretty quickly, and like I kind of came to realize when I was younger just how fucking awesome my sister was, and just how special like my family is, and like how I'm not. It's like just rare as I would see more people, and like they would always talk about how like annoying their little brother or older sister is, and how like they fight all the time and stuff. And I was like, I never had that
Oh, you
problem,
never
so I would just
fought?
kind of. I never fought with my sister, like ever.
Awesome.
Like I was never a problem because also we didn't have like a competition over stuff. It's not like we shared the same things, so it wasn't a problem where
Hmm.
like, oh,
Interesting.
it's like I feel like if I had a little brother, we're like both trying to play the game, right? She's like
Oh yeah.
she has like the pink controller for the Connect that she never uses, right? So I'm like, this is awesome. Like this is a great situation. Like
Yes.
she's doing other things than me, but also
Hmm.
we're not like like fighting over resources in the house. So there's no conflict. Like it was really like a very much a prime setup where she was doing things that were chill and different than mine, but then we still could hang out and talk, and it was no problem. And it was like, and again, she was raised in the same context of like that attention and that kind of conversational engagement. So she always had like cool friends to hang out with too. So that was never a problem. Like she
Oh,
never brought over like dirtbag
this
people. Like,
awesome. Do you
yeah,
share friends?
no, not at all.
Okay.
But that was like that's even better too, right? So it's like it's not even that level. It's not like I'm like
Hmm.
trying to be friends with her friends. It's just like they were never like annoying people that she brought over that were
Hmm.
like
Okay.
annoying me or bothering me in some way. So there was very little like conflict surface to even have, right? It's like we have different clothes, we have different hobbies, don't share things that we would fight over, and then we also like are willing to be super cooperative with each other because like we see that it could be so much worse if we had other situations with family members, because she's like also aware that like damn, a lot of like her friends like fight with their siblings and are like annoyed by their siblings, and like that's not a problem we share. So she's also been like, do you know what I mean? So she also came to the same realization, and so it just mutually worked out. Um and I think, yeah, like, but my mom also was really emphasized to us early on that like she didn't want, because like she had read all these books, like, or she was seeing all this parenting dialogue at the time when I was being born. And then when she got pregnant with my sister, that like, oh, like there's like a sibling like rivalry that's inherent, and like
Ah,
how like the dominant sibling and like who wins, and like just all this weird these parenting books about how you need to cultivate like a strong sibling and a weak sibling, and like you need to
ah.
have them like like almost a survival of the fittest, like Darwin, but to like siblings, like just weird like parenting books. And my mom was just like did not want that at all. Like she did not want me and my sister to like see each other as like competition or like to like fight in that way, and like so, or to struggle with each other in that way. And so she really emphasized that too. I think that was huge as well.
That's awesome that she didn't internalize the message, because anytime, or at least in the current era, you have anything that comes from books just more sophisticated, or at least perceived as such. And so it's nice that she was able to cut through this weird Darwinist argument, because to me that already just seems impulsive, intuitively.
That just seems wrong. Like that just like she's like that doesn't seem right. And she's like, but then she was kind of took it as like, damn, like a lot like the way she took it is like, well, if this is being written about, there's probably a bunch of people who are having some analogous of experience or something, right? And so she just didn't want that to be our experience. And so, you know, whether that was like, you know, in these parenting books, a lot of it was like how to do this, but like some of them were warning that this could happen too. So she was more so like, okay, well, either way, I just don't want this happening. Like
that's super fortunate. Yeah, I don't know if I would.
Really fortunate.
I don't know if what was I gonna say? How about your in terms of now, as opposed to growing up? Because I know you, or at least your sister knows you well enough to, you know, present some critiques of you. So
yeah,
I'm guessing you maintain a fairly close contact.
I would say current. Yeah, fairly close. Like we'll talk like, you know, because she's in another, you know, another time zone, like 9 hours ahead. You know, so I mean I know you are too, but it's like there is a level at which that does like get in the way of her having like, you know, a consistent ability to engage with me. But what I would say, like I would say that my main critique of her is that sometimes I'm like, it's really obvious what she's gonna say to me because she's in like a therapy type field, and then like a lot of her, like for example, I was like, you know, talking to her about the fact that my cat passed, and I kind of said it before she could say it, but I was like, and I'm like, yeah, Jolie would have wanted me to take care of my, you know, because she was like, say, make sure you take care of yourself. And then I'm like, and Jolie would have wanted me to take care of myself, you know, because that's like, but what are you fucking talking about? Like a cat would have wanted me to, it's just a set of words to emphasize that I should take care of myself. And I agree, right? But like, there's just a way in which it's like a fortune cookie sentence. So like, I'm like, whatever. I'm like, you know, like that's my only critique is that, but that's a critique a lot of people is like, it's like they struggle with really getting with what the other person is saying when they're going through like loss or grief, right? Is that like, it's like there's like a default advice of like, make sure you take care of yourself, make sure you, hey, it's, you know, the person who died wouldn't want you to make their death a reason why you know, do worse, or they would have wanted you to take care, you know, like that's the classic thing. So to me, there's like an element of just insulting like feeling that I have where I feel like,
you hate the bromide.
I hate the bromide. I hate the cliche. I hate the fucking the like non-thought that is just meant to say the same thing again. Like I just hate all of that. Like so, and therapy is a lot of that. Therapy is a lot of the same sentence being said in like 8 different ways until a person gets it. Like that's a lot of what therapy is. And so I just again, like that, if I was to have a critique, like that's what it would be. But it's a very small one. It's a very small critique. It's very very chill. Yeah.
I'm surprised that I say I'm surprised, but that is I was just thinking, I was gonna say, oh, you know, that would grate on my conscience, but you know, I just thought about it relatively in terms of, okay, yeah, there are people that are, you know, drug addicts and, you know, getting themselves into all sorts of financial trouble. Oh yeah, you know, that is so much better. I don't because you told me that your cat died. I don't even remember. I think I said that down or something. You just said that down. Which is,
I'm just not focusing on it a ton, kind of, you know, it's kind of thing.
What'd you say?
I'm just not focusing on it a ton. It's like that's how like I'm dealing with it, you know. So I'm kind of like I just because it just like it's just like so devastating kind of thing. So.
Yeah. Oh, okay. It's funny because EXE also said sort of the same thing to me, emulated the same thoughts, and I also have the same thoughts as him, which is now I've never gone through that, but I can just empathize with somebody being told, hey, you know, it really sucks that your, you know, family member died, and you know, bromide. get really great into the soul, but I was thinking more of like the repetitiveness instead of the predictability. I mean, the predictability sort of comes with the repetitiveness of and the triteness of a comment. But what would you say is the in terms of what, not really what you wanted to hear, but in terms of what would you think people should say, general sort of, if people were talking to you, let's just say specifically, if somebody passed
I
away.
know, 'cause the thing is I'm doing the same. I'm probably doing the same thing back to that. So like, it's not even like that's what I'm saying. It's not the kind of critique where I'm like, oh, you like definitely should have done something else. It's just more a pattern, and it kind of extends a little bit beyond like the cat dying. It's kind of like she knows like the right thing that you would say to a person who's dealing with something or thinking about something, and so she says it automatically. But
Mm-hmm.
to me, sometimes I'm not trying to have the right answer, and it won't like, it doesn't feel like a conversation if I'm only getting the right answer in a response. Like I kind of want a shaky answer where a person ventures into more kind of um like like different territory. Like I kind of want a person who thinks about it and then says something that maybe is a little different. But that's not something I expect, and that's not something I like is like required. Otherwise, I'm leaving the call or leaving the conversation kind of thing. It's
Mm-hmm.
just more like for me, I really value that when I get it. And then when I don't get it, it starts to get annoying to me over time, if that makes sense. But like, it's not like I have a set thing she should have said in the cat example. It's not
Mm-hmm.
like in any specific example, I have what she should have said versus what she did. It's just more a conversational disposition where she's like skipping ahead to the right answer that you would give as advice rather than grappling with the dynamics of being said. It's like, oh, like what's being said could imply this about the person, or could imply this about what they're thinking, or could say this about how they've been acting. But instead, it's like, well, what does this person need to do? How does this person need to act to feel better? And
That's
that's the advice
interesting.
that it's
That
given to.
link,
And I don't
that.
like that. I don't
Mm-hmm.
like that. I like people sit in the, oh, how are people? Where are they? How are they? What are they thinking? I like when people sit in that and they don't just skip to the like, well, what you need to do is you need to fucking do, you need to stare at the sun 10 times a day, or something like this is some bullshit,
I like that.
in her case, it's always real. It's always real. It's not like fake advice like that. But it just feels like I'm being told like I might as well stare at the sun 10 times a day. And it's like, yeah, I guess I would see less things that are depressing then.
I think this, at least to me, I draw a connection back to your childhood in terms of the sort of open dialogue, or sorry, the follow-up questions, particularly where it's somebody taking interest in what you're saying, and then enough to think about what you're saying, and then formulate a response based on what you were saying, and that, at least there is a fundamental step being skipped there, if she's just telling you immediately what you
She has
should
to.
do.
She
What'd you
has to
say?
because she's on the move. She has to. She's living a life. She's on the move. She's doing like so many classes. She's working as an intern at a fucking like. So I get it. She's time limited, and so the way she's treating a lot of people
Mm-hmm.
is like this. She comes back to California though. She's here for like a week. She gets out of that mode, and it's good to talk to her again. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's a mode that she's in that I see
Mm-hmm.
people get into because they have to juggle all these things in life. You know.
Mm-hmm.
So like, I
You know, if
get it. I get
I
why
don't know
she's
if I
skipping
do,
that stuff. It
but
still feels like it still feels like insulting, even though it's like,
mm-hmm.
I get why she has to do, because she's thinking of all these other really important things that immediately affect her life. And
Mm-hmm.
so she knows the thing that I need to hear is this. And for most people she talks to, this is like the proper way to talk to them. But it's just, I think she forgets that when talking to me, the process of the conversation to me is just as important as like the actual factual nature of the words being said in like a practical sense of advice. Like, it's
Mm-hmm.
just as important to me how we got there than it is like what's being said. Like, that's just as important in a conversation to me.
I like the way you, at least the level of empathy you showed in terms of, I can see how somebody would come to this mindset, because um, I would call myself an empathetic person. I can no, I'm an empathetic person. I'm not particularly. I don't feel particular sympathy in terms of, I can emulate somebody's mindset, and know how they think. But um, I think this one, it would just be completely off my radar in terms of um Yeah, in terms of their work environment, you're sort of emulating what sort of mind state would somebody would work through. But I don't know if I have a particular. So that was sort of my stepdad's critique of how I was talking to my mom, where where I was saying it was about the nipples thing, and he overheard the conversation, so he said, "Oh, can I join in?" Um, and he was saying, "Oh, you know, this could be an artifact of." Because she lived in, you know, occupied
Yeah,
Czechoslovakia,
right.
and the sort of level of what you're going to discuss is just already limited. At least based on what she's telling me now, I don't know, you know, how much it's overplayed. But she was saying, yeah, there is an aversion to talking about would you call it in terms of oh if our neighbors find out about you know particular topics that we're talking about they're a little bit more
Real. That's fucking real as fuck. Yeah. Holy shit.
exactly right
The Czechoslovakian. I know about the fucking Czechoslovakian like secret police and shit. Those like there was a whole massive informal. I mean, there is in every industrial age.
mhm,
People pretend that there's not, but there is. But like, I mean, the level of like speech repression specifically, like reporting on people was a way you would tell the authorities, "Nah, I'm good. Like, you don't have to go after me. I'm reporting other people." Like, so there was
mhm.
like a proactiveness to the reporting too that wasn't even dependent on like whether it was actually being said. It was like people would just lie about other people as well. Like, it was like really censored.
Wow, okay, I
So
didn't my history of Czechoslovakia very much doesn't exist and so I don't know to the extent of how a lot of these systems existed. And so for me, it's always I always have this mano a mano mindset. And she was actually talking about this today. I don't remember specifically, but for me, I'm very much. It's so hard for me to empathize with not empathize. Sorry, I can understand the thought process of somebody by particular circumstances shaping them, but I get so upset when it becomes for me that the mono mono mindset is basically no excuses. You know, there is no excuse for you know acting in a particular way. You know, you die. You know, there's something that can. You know, there are things that um first time you're dealing with a boss it can just feel very intuitive, but once you know how the attack works, now it's your you can't go oh that's so bullshit because now you know how it works. You can't use those arguments anymore, they're bullshit, they don't exist anymore. Oh you know that hitbox is fucked up and you know in the way that it's fucked up you now can't say oh it's bullshit. Yeah, well intuitively it sucks, but you're not at that intuitive phase anymore. You've already done the analysis, so now you already know how it works. It's not bullshit anymore. You're now just sucking. For me, it's you know there the excuses end. I can't just keep using the same excuse. It doesn't make sense to use the same excuse. But that's not how people operate at all. I see a lot of
Oh, yeah.
the people using the relying on the same excuse, and I even see myself as sort of a critique of myself, and that's where it really came from, which is wait, why am I defaulting to these excuses when I already know how this works? It actually doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah. It's almost like I'm acting as if I never learned the answer to this.
Wait, would you say you might cut out?
Oh, sorry. It's like people are saying they never learned the answer when they're like, "Oh, like that's so bullshit. This happened." Like I remember that with fucking like people like getting console lag. They would complain about
Mhm.
console lag during grief, and I'm like, well, first off, I know it's not. Usually, it wasn't console lag because it's like it hasn't been 2 hours. But I'm also like, okay, like let's say that's a real fucking. You're like, dude, console lag. It's like put on a fucking timer since the last one, dude. Like seriously, like if you know console lag's happening every fucking certain number of hours, which is known, that's like it's a regularity thing. I'm like,
Mhm.
put on a timer and
Mhm.
then fucking like have it like in a minute you're gonna get it and then fucking in 30 seconds you're gonna get it and then go in the corner and chill for a second, keep playing, like play if you care about this affecting your game, play like that, don't fucking come to me telling me
Exactly.
about conflict,
Mhm.
like take it seriously as an issue or stop talking.
Yeah, so it feels more as though people are using it as a sort of mental safety spot rather than a problem to solve, and that's why for me my brain just
Doesn't give the sympathy to the
it's really hard. It goes and yeah, maybe I am a little bit too critical of my mom, but I'm going. She was telling me I just can't remember it, like you can, and I'm going no, 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 no. It's not you know my innate ability to remember. I mean, to some extent, yeah, obviously. But it's to the point where I see the way you engage with stuff, and it doesn't inspire any sort of
Confidence or
development.
or development. Yeah, exactly. Crucially.
And
Because like,
so,
and that's
yeah,
memory
go.
isn't just a static. Keep in mind, people don't talk about this enough. But like, I mean, I've always had a really good memory. That's been one of my things that I've really kind of had my whole life. That's been kind of, but I've also recognized over time that memory is a practice. It's something that you practice, and like you practice these things. And so, oh, I don't remember like you can, yeah, because maybe you don't engage with like things in the way that you do, right? So
Mm.
that you don't build the set of practices that would actually require a person to remember things at the level of detail with the level of intensity that you do. And therefore, it requires like that practice that you're building that will like build for that other person too. Like I think anybody, I don't buy for a fucking second this idea that like, I mean, obviously there are some level limitations, but like, if you're missing part of your brain, that fucking, there's like no way around that. But like, I think people have a lot more potential than they give themselves credit for, mainly because if they recognize that potential, ooh, all of a sudden the like lack of taking advantage of that gets a lot harder to justify, right? If
Mhm.
you recognize that you
Especially if
could
you're an
do
older
something
person
and you're
too.
not, oh my god, yeah, it gets
That
a
must
lot
grate
harder
on
to
you
justify. Way more.
way more.
Way more.
Imagine,
Yeah.
yeah, somebody said this. It was about religion, and it's just way hot. If you're older, it must be. This is more proposed as a hypothesis where, you've spent your whole life and justifying that particular actions based on it's like, oh, I abstained from sex before marriage, and the way I chose to engage with my marriage was in this particular way based on religion, and now you sort of by saying, "Oh, there is no God," you have to sort of go, "Oh yeah, all these these are just aspects of life you're never gonna be 20 again. You're never gonna be able to socially explore in that same level and have that same level of desirability, especially if you're a woman." And so it's so hard to go, or at least I can understand how it would be hard for somebody to go, "Oh, mm, I don't want to acknowledge that. I don't want to acknowledge, particular doubts. Instead, I just want to, not think about that and not go to that part of my brain." And yeah, I understand why that would
But I
be.
don't think it gives you an excuse that I don't think it gives you an excuse that like it's like you can understand a position, but yeah, the
Mhm,
problem I fell into, which I'm glad you're not falling into, is like I would understand something and I would have empathy, and therefore I'd like almost justify it in a
mhm,
way where I probably should still be mad, even though I'm like understanding the kind of the root of it.
mhm,
It doesn't mean that I shouldn't still be mad that it's happening, right?
mhm. And that's why, maybe I probably am a little bit too hard on my mom, but I think there is a level of justification I have with I don't like this,
I think
you are born with a gift, and so my a bit. Back before sat navs were really common, we used to have this one thing called a tom tom, which was one of the early sat navs, and but we only had one, and so when my mom's boyfriend would use it, because it was his, she didn't know where to go, and so I have a internal map of all the sort of areas of central
right.
and south Essex in my head. I know how, still to this day, I know how to my
That's
ability.
awesome.
So when I went to Cambridge, to me it's I now that is permanently in my head, and I sort of, because I was looking at the maps of what the surrounding roads look like, so I know how the roads connect. To me, that's just probably going to be in my head forever in terms of the way the road network works up there. It's very easy for me to remember, but that is
Yeah.
something that was cultivated from my mom's ineptitude of being able to engage with the road, and so I'm carefully
Exactly.
engaging with the road. So especially on particular roads where there are these things called emeralds in the UK, and it's funny. I had this conversation with my mom because she was actually asking me the same question. Just having to know this. So emeralds and A roads, they could be very similar, where they're motorways, but emeralds just have fewer exits. You won't have houses on an A road, or you won't have a short road. So I used to live on this road called the A12. It's the main road that goes for us. It's quite busy. There would just be a road that would just go off the just complete happenstance. It would just be an exit that would just go to a small road that basically no cars go on, and that would just be my house on that road. So it, was just, it happened to be very convenient, but it doesn't work like that on Emerald, where you would just have exits that are just you know, maybe like 15 miles apart. And you just go, okay, you have to go 15 miles up the road, really far apart. And so, especially when my mom is on an emerald, I'm going, you can't take the wrong exit. I'm very conscious of, I don't want my time to be wasted on the road. And so, no, you have to take this exit and you have to go this particular way because it's not a roundabout. And so you can't, you don't have the crutch of if you go on the wrong lane, oh, okay, I can just go around the roundabout and then take the exit that I need. No, you have to take the right lane specifically. And so I'm memorizing the right ways to go because
consequences are real. You're like, God.
Exactly. Especially for me, because I want to be home and I want to be watching YouTube and stuff.
I want to be fucking playing the fucking game. Where the fuck is...
Exactly. And so, well, I was playing on my DS, so that was my DS era, so I already had my DS on me. Probably a charge thing, you know, oh, my battery's flashing red and we need to get home immediately. So
it's frustrating in general to have your time wasted. It's like, I get that.
Yeah, in a general sense, yeah, like I'm meticulously justifying it, but yeah, super annoying. And so I have a very and by the way, this is just me surmising. This has been so long ago, I actually don't know why. I just have a particular aptitude to the way a road network is or whatever about how it's structured and being able to, you know, easily image that in my mind. But it was so the you sent me this thing about memory. It was about TikTok, right? Short form content. But the thing that I found really interesting was they did talk about sat navs and you know, general scheduling apps, and they were saying that this is or at least could be a memory inhibitor. I'm pretty sure they found evidence of it inhibiting memory because you're offloading these, you know, let's say with a sat nav, right? You're offloading that task to a sat nav, and so you're just going, oh, turn left, turn right, turn. You're not imagining the road network and how it interacts with, you know, the roads next to it. You just need to follow the blue line, and that's not how I engage with roads at all. When I'm planning, I don't ever use the sat nav. I'm very much understanding how the road networks interact with each other on a map, and then planning my route, especially because I'm on a bike too. So I actually have to be very much conscious of that, because I don't want to, as I said before, I don't want to hold up traffic. That super sucks for the cars. Even though fuck the cars, sucks for the cars. And so I like not just breathing in the fumes too. That's also super nice on the small roads. And so I enjoy the freedom of the small road. And so I don't want to go out of my way to go on a small road, but I love the small road, just go parallel to the main roads. And so I'm very much aware of, okay, this is the main road, this is the road I should be paying attention to. But also these side roads that are going parallel, I know how they work. So I know how the roads work in terms of, I'm not just having awareness of one road, I'm sort of understanding how they connect with each other, because sometimes I'll need to merge onto the main road. And so I'm very much aware of how the roads work. And that's not how she engaged with the sat nav at all. And so I'm telling her this. I'm going, because this is something that I've intuited, where I'm going, I wonder if the sat nav actually hurts your ability to
navigate,
navigate and remember outside of just using the sat nav. Because
think about the implications of this extending to so many different things.
Mm-hmm.
The sat nav, the thing that helps you navigate, can inhibit your ability to navigate in the longer. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This, to me, that what we're describing here is terrifying. Like, it's a de-skilling at a kind of insane level. And I think that's the goal of AI. Just to say, I think AI is supposed to be an interface for everything, and you're supposed to offload the cognitive structures of everything onto AI. And I think that's why it's so terrifying to me, because what you're describing right now is like people not being able to navigate as well because they're not thinking about what's going on as they're doing it. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. Which it's funny because you've connected so many different thoughts that probably come from the same place in me, because or at least it's on at least a layer deeper than I was thinking, because I already have a suspicion of AI. Not in terms of suspicion of AI in terms of, oh, this is very suspect, in terms of I'm suspicious of implementing it, because I just like thinking by myself. So it's, oh, you know, I'm doing coding, and then, you know, AI comes up and I'm going, I really don't want to use this. This is, I mean, it can be super helpful, but also I don't like the idea of somebody completing a task for me and doing the problem solving for me. I think that goes past mano a
Something off
mano.
about
That
that.
eliminates the mano a mano of I have to figure out something myself. I love the ability to think about, because that's what a game is. It's you sort of
Yep.
restricting yourself to a particular set of assets, and then you have to figure out what to do. If you had an AI to do it for you, then that sucks. And games, especially modern games, when they've given you the ability to do certain things, you can just optimize the fun out the game. Oh, yeah, this boss is too hard. I'm gonna lower the difficulty. Okay, well now you've just optimized the challenge. You're not thinking about, oh, okay, so now I have to, have to think of a way or a strategy to overcome this. No, you can just, go into lower difficulty, and now you've not done any thought. You've just offloaded it to, a difficulty. Fast travel too. I've always hated
Well, I
fast
think game
travel.
guides are more. I think game guides are more direct, where it's like you don't even have to figure out how to actually solve the boss or anything. It's just like how to beat this boss. And like I get there's a level at
True.
which there's something convenient about that, and that's fine. And like there's no like necessarily having a guide. Like okay, well in one game, you have a guide. Like eventually the goal is you don't need guides. Eventually the goal is you should have kind of built a way. But I think what's interesting about games, and I think it's okay to do this, is that like if you want to play games at the highest level, you need to be constantly learning and thinking and engaging with what like there's one thing where it's like I need to use a guide to like get past this level. It's another thing being like, I wonder what the best players are doing to get past this level, right?
Oh yeah,
Like
that's.
those are both the same way of you're both looking at a guide, but these are very different ways of looking at a
Mhm.
guide. Do you know what I mean? So you could like that's what I'm saying here is like there's different ways of offloading thought too, and it's like they're not the same way of like I mean you are offloading and outsourcing in a sense by copying another person's strategy, but in another way you're actually adopting it as a kind of optimization for a bigger project that you yourself still control. Like you're still in control of the larger project of getting good at the game. Whereas if you're just offloading like thinking, if you're just offloading the ability to navigate, you are offloading anything that is related to that, and you're guaranteeing yourself to be trapped. Like you're not like, oh, let me look up the most effective strategies for how to get home, or like the quickest routes, or like where like you're not doing research or thinking. You're
Mhm.
offloading thinking when the task comes up in the moment. You're not preemptively offloading thinking by going out and finding stuff and researching. You're offloading thinking in the moment. You're even offloading like when you think about it to the moment it arrives. Do you know what I mean? You're not even in control of when the thought arrives that you're offloading. So a thought's being given to you, you're not in control of that, and then it's coming to you, and then you need to offload it, and you're not even in control of how you're offloading it. Like that's what's so terrifying about AI is people are going to do this with like everything, um, everything. They're going to do it with everything, and they're not going to realize how limited these tools are. I think. Um,
Okay, I'm very much glad that I basically don't interact with AI at all, at least all that
yeah.
much. And I'm.
Like you see how I offload it to use like simple calculations like that. I'm like, all right, take this list, break it into these sections,
Mhm.
and then do a percentage of how much this list, you know what I mean? Like that kind of thing. Low stakes, right? What if
Mhm.
it turns out those percentages are a little bit off? I don't care. It broadly probably got those percentages pretty correct, like roughly, because all I had to
Mhm.
do is like it didn't even have to do the calculation itself. It just had to like shift like where the percentages are, and
Mhm.
any it should easily be able to do that. Let's say it fucking lied to me. I don't give a fuck because it's a low stakes thing. But that's the problem.
Mhm.
Is like people will treat things as like everything is like AIable, so they won't have a sense of like this is actually a diminished product because everything is AIable because so it's all within the like context of how good it is for an AI product. Like this is pretty good for AI. It's like,
Mhm.
but if you compare it to like just hiring a person who knows how to code, it's so much worse. It doesn't at all compare in like any way. So like
Mhm.
you know what I mean? Like so there's a way in which it's like, oh, for an AI program, this is pretty good. So yeah, but I think people want to offload thought. Like what's scary to me most though is that I think people want to offload thought as much as possible. And I think there aren't many incentives telling them otherwise.
Interesting. Can you give me an example of this?
Um, let me, I'm, it's like, I just think with any task, if a person thinks they can just ask the robot, they will, is what I'm kind of saying. Like, I think if people get the sense, like, oh man, like, I can just ask the robot and it'll do it for me, I think people will just ask the robot to do it for them.
Wow.
Like I don't like I know it's really almost pessimistic. Um but it's like it's pessimistic because I think I just think it's like true in like a really sad way. And I think I don't. So here's maybe this is a better way to say it. And I read this is in a political philosophy book that I'm reading right now. I'm about 5 chapters into it. It's called Capitalism and Nothingness, and he argues in this chapter called Meat Machines. I'll send you the a link to it because I'll send this to someone else. But
Mhm.
he argues that like also I'll just send the argument right now.
Oh, do you want me to read? I mean, I'm
Yeah.
reading it in my head, but I'll read it out loud. These cases are important because they indicate how sophisticated new technologies are actually being deployed in the post-industrial economy. Full automation is overhyped. The true danger of AI-led robotics and neural nets is not future mass unemployment. No, it's how they will reshape the human remainder on a psychological corpor. What does corporeal mean?
So like physical body, like how we relate to our physical body and our
Okay,
bodily functions
corporal
and
and
yeah.
existential level. That is decisive. My thesis can be summarized thus: robots probably won't steal your job, but they will fundamentally change who you are for the worse. I term this human robotic uh,
Mimesis.
mimesis. What's the mimesis?
Okay, so it's like basically the human is imitating the robot. So like in mimesis is like the
Like mimetic,
representation or
I'm guessing.
imitation. Yeah. But this is a human robotic mimesis. Literally acting like a machine. Machines.
Mm-hmm. Literally acting like a machine. Oh, that was me funny. Machines. Given the limits of the psychological
Physiological.
organism, physiological organism, it is unsurprising that this mimetic performance often fails and reveals that we are human after all. That's when poultry workers decide to wear diapers on the assembly line, or even worse, as that banking customer service worker discovered when he didn't make it to the lavatory on time.
So
Wait,
one of the
hold on.
examples he gave earlier at the chapter was that the people in so this is in the UK that because there's
Mhm.
such a lack of public toilets that exist, oftentimes like people in workrooms won't be given access to reliable work like bathrooms. Like in the bank example, it was a bank attendant worker who was told that the like the bathroom is like at the mall nearby. And
What?
so, like, and then they were basically not giving him like effective bathroom breaks. And when he had to go to the bathroom, they basically made him wait till the break. And by the time he went, during the break, he didn't fucking make it and he came back humiliated. And like, but this idea is basically it's not that we're going to be replaced by machines. It's that work is going to make us act as if we were machines. And then we're going to hit this point where we always realize we're not machines. And that leads to basically a humiliation of the human. It leads to a sense of failure and a sense of being unable to live up to something where if everything is considered like you're being compared to an AI, you're being compared to a machine, you're being made into a machine, and then you realize you can't reach it. Well, now you got to wear the diapers. Now you got to wear, you got to adapt because if you're gonna be on the fucking, and that was another thing, like they weren't given bathroom breaks to like chicken workers and stuff, and so they were on the assembly line, and what they realized is they got to start wearing diapers. And it's funny because so we've been
Mm.
buying adult diapers for my grandpa, right? Because he's at that age. He's like 80 something. He's like 84 or something. And so he's like, he's at that age. He's struggling with bowel stuff. It's not a problem. But I'm like, damn, there's like the adult diapers are really on display. I'm like, I'm always surprised where like the adult diapers are like kind of at the front of like CVS. Like they're like easy to get. I'm like, oh, they're right here. Okay. I never have to look for them. It's like very easy to find them. And I thought that was just like, oh, there's a lot of old people, I guess, that needed diapers. But it also, I think, is possible that because of the insane restrictions both in the US and the UK on like bathroom breaks and like when people actually can like go to the toilet, I think it's possible people might be wearing adult diapers sometimes. I think people might like in the real world like be using them as a way to get around this problem of being treated like a fucking machine where you're given a 15-minute bathroom break once a day. Like that's fucking crazy. Like that's how people are treated much of the time. So that's mind blowing to me. But I think, that's the thesis of this. It's not that automation like will replace you literally, but it'll create a work scenario where you're treated like a machine,
Mm-hmm.
which you can never live up to, right? So that's really what automation will do. It's not gonna fucking replace you fully. Because even when bank tellers had calculators come in, it's not like it's just they now use the calculator. It's not like the calculators replaced them. It's not like they stopped existing. The bank tellers stopped existing when ATMs started being a thing. They started being used for other things. They were used for larger transactions. They're used for international, transactions or things that required human sign off, right? So it's not like people really get one-to-one replaced, like where there was once a human, there is now only a robot. It's that robots and automation have been so integrated into the work environment, you basically are forced into being a robot or like not living up to your expectations. Like, does that make sense?
That completely makes sense to me. I
Yeah,
didn't even
scary.
think about
To
it
me,
like
that's way
that. Yeah.
scarier. To me, that's way scarier. And that's why he says, it's not, it's not going to be future mass unemployment. No, it'll reshape the human remainder. So there's always still going to be humans, and it's like, what's the fate of those people? And like, that's the real question, I think, of AI. Everyone's asking like, how many jobs will be lost? It's like, I think the real question is, what happens to the humans left over after the jobs are lost? What happens to the humans they do still employ?
Mm-hmm. You need some
But, I gotta get
Legos.
ready because my uncle's coming over, and I gotta get ready for his shit. So I will talk to you later.
All right, have fun.
All right.
Ciao.
Talk to you.